Slay.
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
At least
hi everybody.
Hey. Okay. Nope, you're not late. Oops.
Am I echoing you guys?
You are.
A little bit.
Am I? How about now? Oh,
no, you're good now. Hey everyone. I'm so excited that we're public tonight. Normally we do this in Patreon only, and we do it every Wednesday for True Crime and Wine Wednesday. But the next 2 weeks we're going to do it public on Wednesdays because we have special guests. We wanted everyone to be able to see it. If you want to join us, on our other Wednesdays, it's in our Patreon, and it's only $3 for the lowest tier. I never sell my Patreon, so that's my only plug for the night. But and then, of course, because we're public tonight, I'm Vanessa, and then there's, of course, Teresa that's on every week. And then this week, we're so honored to have on CDT and Crazy Crime Chick. We're supposed to be on, but she's not be here tonight. She's got more important things going on. Hey, Angelina ITF.
My hair.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, Denise.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
We've been wanting to do a panel like this for a while, and we just haven't gotten it put together. But I think it would be fun. And since we all talk about this stuff, this is basically, we just kind of talk about, well, I would say, Teresa, wouldn't you, other cases too. It usually somehow steers back to Watts, but not all of it. Sometimes we talk about other cases too.
Like once a year or so.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But with this panel, obviously, we're going to be talking about Watts tonight. And I'm sure all of you know that case. If you don't, he's the dad from Frederick, Colorado, who on August 13th of 2018 murdered his wife and children. His pregnant wife and children, I should say. So, hey, Mama Bear. So, yeah. And we just took a couple sips to get ready. We had a little, but I think we're good. Do I have a delay anymore, or am I good?
I think you're good.
I think you're good.
My Wi-Fi was going down earlier, so just let me know.
And if I'm looking down, you guys, I'm just trying to look at chat. So I'm like, so just so you know.
Same. And plus, the ladies, we've known them for so long. When you say, I think pretty much the whole time. And we've chatted Watts so many times in groups and private message, but never on here. So that's why I was excited to do this.
Yeah.
Excited. I know.
2 years in the making, pretty much. All of us getting together to talk about it. Oh, hey, Natalia from Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're missing one, but she was like all preoccupied and stuff today. So still give her a little shout out.
Yeah.
She was here
I know.
No baby yet, right? She hasn't messaged me back.
Yeah, not yet that I've heard. So, but I think she's doing okay. Just no baby yet. But yeah, we were just joking that, Amber will be here unless she's having her baby. We're like, no way will that happen. She won't be early. And here we are. She's about a week early. Her due date was January 20th.
Oh, well, okay. So not too bad. Not too early. But just in time to miss us.
Yeah.
For us to miss her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, Karen. Okay, we already got quite a few people here, even though, sorry, thank you for those of you who waited for a little bit.
It's Vanessa's fault.
It is not. You were supposed to tell the truth tonight.
It was probably my fault. It was probably my fault. I'm sorry. I couldn't. This is my first time really doing live like this, so I didn't know how to work my camera, how to do anything. So you guys, it's my fault. Sorry.
All right, it's Crazy's fault, but I still want to blame Vanessa.
Well, then I did have to pee, of course.
So it was Vanessa's fault.
Yeah, technically.
So I don't even know where to start because honestly, and I know you and I, Kelly, have talked, for you and Teresa too. We have talked theories for 2 years, and we have come full circle. That's a really interesting thing too. I don't even remember where we started. I mean, I kind of do. Mm-hmm. We all met in an NK group, and then it just kind of took off from there.
Was there an NK group out there, or are you talking about our NK group?
Oh no, this was like original like NK group. It's gone now.
Was it supporting her?
No.
Oh,
it was one of the first who were. It was one of the first that I think were really looking into her possible role in it, and it wasn't very big, and there wasn't a whole lot of people who, thought that she played a role in it. And then I came across that group and obviously joined, and met Teresa and Vanessa and
Fine. And we even when that group kind of split apart or whatever you want to call that, we kept talking Watts, but that's how we all met. And I remember back in was that before Discovery or after? I can't even remember.
Right after, because I came into the case after, like right as it was being released. So it was a little after when I joined anyway.
Yeah. It was interesting. I don't even know. I try to think back and look at my old stuff, how far we've come. I still believe, some of the same stuff, but we just know so much more now.
Yeah, exactly.
But yet, ironically, we still don't have any answers.
I know.
It's like the same stuff.
Well, that's the irony. We know a lot more, and I could have never predicted back then. I'm sure you couldn't either, the twists and turns this has taken, every which way in the case, behind the scenes, everything. But we still are in the same spot we were 2 years ago.
Right.
But whatever.
I mean, the only thing that hasn't really changed, I still don't think that Chris acted alone. That's my feeling. I don't think he planned or acted alone. And that's one thing that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I think for me too. I've always thought NK was involved, or the mistress, whatever you want to call her. That's one thing that's never changed. I go back and forth with other things, but with her, I always think like she's involved. She knows more. I mean, yeah. You guys know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one thing that we can all agree on is there's definitely more to what happened, whether it be leading up to or during or even right after. And those are where all like the unanswered questions are, and why we all 2.5 years later are still stuck here, because there's so many things that just don't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then they're putting out Netflix documentaries, and new YouTube people are popping up all the time, and some are great, some like NK's cousin, etc. I mean, there's just a lot of.
She really liked us.
Yeah, I bet she loved you.
She really liked us a lot.
Right.
Yeah, we made an appearance in her very first video, didn't we? She was really pissed.
She's so nice.
Connie Cochran.
Yeah.
Correctly. Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, a lot has changed and a lot hasn't. But I do think it's fun to sometimes go through the old chats and see. Someone asked, what is our thoughts on the name change? I have heard different things about that. I mean, have we even seen anything showing after she, initially filed for that?
Well, no, because
do you think she kept her last name? Or do you think she got rid of her last name?
No,
I don't really know. I think it's kind of a weird thing because, I mean, the name change in itself, one, it has incredibly weird timing. And then two, nobody really, I mean, there's, some people who live in that area who kind of have an idea of, where she has been. But for the majority of people, nobody really knew where she was. I mean, there was sightings in Seattle and in, Washington and wherever. It was like all over the place. And then she goes and files for a name change, and she has to do it where she lives. And so then everybody's like, oh, okay, so she lives in Colorado. That's great. So I don't know why she would do that. And then since she's not like out in the public, I mean, she's really just around her family. So are they going to call her new name? I mean, like, how does that work?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, I feel like she probably kept her last name. I don't know. That's just me. I think maybe her first name, but then again, Kessinger's like, that's what everybody knows her by. So I don't know.
Maybe she's like, NK Kessinger.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what I think her name is.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I do have some guesses.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really good question. So I'm even hoping we can get to these fast enough. Chrissy wanted to know what each of us had, as far as a level of involvement, and I know we have to be somewhat careful with this question, but as best as you can answer that, which one do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And I'll be on my best behavior. So what's the question again? What's her level in involvement? I think she's the mastermind of it all. I think she, the whole, can we talk about the Oxy, or we can't talk about the Oxy, or is that cool or no?
I think we can talk about it as long as we don't one of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the whole Oxy theory with me is that I think when Chris went to North Carolina, I don't think he came up with that by himself. I just feel like that's poisoning, and usually that's a woman's thing. Women usually poison, not men. And I just wonder, where did Chris come up with that? And I think he originally wanted her to accidentally OD, but it didn't work. And then I think the whole she came up with plan B, which would have been the Serbia explosion. That's my part. That's what I think, guys. Without saying too much, I don't want to say too much, but that's what I think. I think she's a mastermind behind it all. I really, really do.
Do you think that she's the only one behind it, or do you think that there are other people that were in it with her?
See, that's where I don't know. Like, I know other people bring up other names, but I don't know. I'm undecisive still. But for her, for sure. But everybody else, I'm like, I mean, I know there's stuff with, I mean, if we're talking her best friend, male-wise, I think so. I think there's something there. If we're talking associates of Chris, I'm not sure yet. I just think it's sketchy, though, certain things that happened with him that, I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with us thinking it's sketchy because law enforcement thought it was sketchy if they invited him back to ask him questions. So we have every right to question it, but I'm still like, I'm not sure with that other one, but with Mistress and her friend, for sure, something's going on there. Yeah, for sure.
Something fishy happening.
Something fishy. It's that time for her. I
don't know. What do you think,
Kelly? All right, Kelly, what do you think?
Okay, so I will go ahead and just say that I first heard about this case because Chris's sentencing video popped up on my Facebook feed, and I watched it, and I was like, what a sick man to do this. So, of course, I went to YouTube and Google and looked it up, and I heard NK's interviews, and I immediately felt that she was involved. Okay, over time, I think there's more than NK involved. I think that this plan goes pretty deep, and I do think that there are some associates who worked in the oil field that knew Chris were also involved to some level. And I wonder if the reason NK Googled Chris in August and then, Googled Shanann in September and then again in January is because she possibly knew some of these coworkers who worked in the oil field. And I think that her buddy has some role in it as well. I don't know how deep you want me to go, but I don't think there's proof of who exactly murdered who, how it all happened, when it all happened. We don't have really any of those solid details. And all we really have is Chris Watts's word, and he's a liar. So it's hard for me to really obviously say that. Okay, his first confession, I don't believe Shanann killed her girls. I've ruled that out. I have gone down that road. I don't believe that. But then you go to February 2019, the second confession that so many people say he did it. He said he did it all. I'm not there yet. I don't believe that confession in its entirety. I think there is some truth there. But yeah, I think that NK was kind of brought in to get Chris, and there was a plan to blow up Serby 319. And I also think that NK could be involved in some dark
things.
Dark things. Yeah.
Some dark stuff that happened at her apartment and elsewhere.
Yeah. Who knows where?
I just think too that it's just too sketchy too that Troy gets the phone call when Chris is there. It's just too sketchy for me. It's just too ironic. And Chris never mentions that to Tammy. He talks about meeting up. He talks about going to that market. What is it called?
Well, he
what's that
says
market he met up?
he went to King Supers, but they met at a Safeway. He doesn't tell Tammy he went to a Safeway.
See, that's the thing. He doesn't bring up anything with Troy at all. And it's like, if it was an innocent meetup, why not tell her about it? So that's something else that I'm just like, I don't know. Something sketchy's there. I don't know yet where to go.
Someone asked, I don't think that the Watts family is involved at all. That's my opinion. I don't think they're involved in any way.
In my opinion, I think the involvement goes to the fact that all the pressure that was on Chris. I think that there was just so much animosity and so much anger and so much both ways. And I just think it was too much for him at that moment. And with NK putting the claws in deeper, I don't think he was a strong enough man to be able to handle all of that.
I agree.
Definitely wasn't a strong man, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was not.
No.
And I don't think he got the oxy from his family either. I know there's a lot of people that say this or that, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at comments here. You agree with Teresa? Yeah. So not to get off topic, but what you mentioned about Friday, I have so much about Friday that I don't think adds up. And I do think it's super sketchy. And I do think, like you said, if you look at Discovery, he doesn't talk about where he was at all. He just says he was out running errands till 4. And then he mentioned the stuff that he did on Sunday that day. He's trying to fill his time, basically, is what I'm trying to say. On Friday, he's trying to fill his time, which you have to wonder why. And then just a little thing about, you might already know this, that Safeway is on the way to August.
Where Survey is?
What? I didn't hear you. What?
That Safeway where they met, that is that's on the route to Roggin. If you're going to drive to Roggin, it's on that route.
It's not the close one to his house.
No, it would not be where he would go to meet him. If you were just going to hang around your town and go, it's on 76 as you're going out to Roggin, which I find really interesting as well.
Yeah, why go somewhere further? See, another thing is just weird.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mama Bear. Mama Bear says, can we all please have a good laugh at Nicole Atkinson sleeping in the basement?
That's easy to laugh about.
I don't.
I heard it last night, and I was like, I text Sky, and I was like, "Did you watch this last night?" Like, okay, so we're going from now they can't. Now they realize that she didn't come home early, so now she's in the basement. I'm like, what the heck? No, it was NK in the basement. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll say I appreciate anybody who wants to dive into data. I absolutely do. I just don't think that you don't see all of the data, so you have to fill it in with your own theories and your own, opinions on what you think happened, and that doesn't make it fact, because the data can support. I could take the same data and insert somebody else and make it the same thing. So I understand the whole purpose of going through the data. I love data myself, so I get it. But there's too much missing, and you can't determine why it's missing because they're not telling you why they're not giving it to you. So you can only come up with, well, they're not giving it because they weren't going to give it and they gave it later, or they were going to do this or they were going to do that. But in reality, you don't know, and you can only go off the data that you actually have. The rest is conjecture.
Right.
Yeah. To the question that someone asked, it says, has anyone thought the oxy could have been from SW, her neck surgery? I don't think it's from her. I don't think it came from the basement. That's my opinion. I mean, 80, that's a lot, you guys.
I brought this up on a live, but we were under the impression and had heard from multiple different people that were not connected to each other, so we tend to believe it to be true, that she was actually prescribed Percocet. And I said this on a live before, and then everybody in the comments went all crazy, like, Percocet is Oxy. But my point is, if she was prescribed Percocet and he got it from a bottle that was in the basement, why did he not look up Percocet? Why did he look up Oxy?
Yeah.
So if that doesn't make sense, he would have Googled Percocet, blah, blah, blah. And yes, it's Oxy with, I think, acetaminophen, but it's not, he doesn't Google that. So to me, it doesn't make sense that it would be from her neck surgery. And then there's the other part that it goes kind of crazy because everybody says, well, it's her lupus medicine. And then you talk to people who have lupus, and I don't, but you talk to other people, nobody's described Oxy for lupus. And then an 80 milligram dose. So is it a bunch of 5 milligram tablets and that's what was left? Is it, I mean, there's so much more to that. There's a reason he Googled 80. And I think the date of that search would be very interesting to know.
Well, that's why I think too, when people say 80 is not a high dose, and I'm like, yes, that's extremely high. And I even, a little bit about me, and I've shared this with Vanessa, and I don't care about sharing it with everybody, but I went through breast cancer and I put it in 3 of my groups. Like, has anyone ever been prescribed 80 milligrams? And I asked them, and everybody was like, no, that's insane. That's insane. And these are women with stage 4 chronic pain and never given 80. And when you look it up, it's someone who's usually almost like already on their deathbed. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's a high dose to me. And I don't know where he got it from. I don't know.
Yep. I agree. And actually, it was weird. Someone today just commented, I don't remember which one, I think it was maybe Unmasking NK5, that she has lupus, and that's outrageous to say that she would have 80 milligrams or anything even close to that. She said that that's ridiculous and it's unbelievable. And I agree with that. I think maybe, but we did talk about this week. It doesn't mean, Chris tells half truths. It doesn't mean that if there wasn't a time after he found out that she was pregnant that he didn't go in that basement and get something out of there and try to give it to her. It doesn't mean that. And he could be telling the truth about that part, but that is not where he got the stuff he tried, that I believe, I'm not saying it's a fact, I believe he did try to kill her with it before the 13th when they were in North Carolina. And I think that he might have messed with it and tested some things out of their bins before, but I think what he got and what he gave her in North Carolina was 80. Or someone told him about it because he had to research it.
I know.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if you just type in his exact Google search, you don't get that she's going to miscarry a baby.
No.
I did the same thing, Teresa. Nothing about that. It's all about that. If that's like a high dose and it can cause what? Fatal respiratory something. And it's like, if you're not used to taking it, it could be harmful. Nothing about a miscarriage. So I don't know why he said that. I don't know. Maybe just to cover what he was really trying to do. Maybe, I don't know. But,
I agree.
Well, that's one thing, is I don't think that he's ever told the truth.
No,
I don't think that. I think there's definitely pieces of truth, but I mean, I don't think his first confession, second confession, third confession, 10th confession, I still don't think that man has told the truth.
Nope.
I don't even know if he even understands what the truth is anymore. I don't know. He's probably like, I don't even know what the hell happened. I've heard so much shit.
I feel like he has people in his ears telling him stuff, what people are saying, and I think he's going that route. I think that's what he's doing. I don't know.
I agree. You have other people right now saying that they have lupus and that's not what you're given. That's not the right amount. So I just think it's pretty clear. And again, I think the bins, like I said, how do we know? Because we do know, and we have that note we were looking at, that he said that he felt bad when he found out she was pregnant, that he was talking to another girl. Well, that was May 29th. So we don't know if he tried to give her something before then. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
Wait. So do you guys think they met? Do you think that Chris introduced Shanann at the fireworks show? What's your guys' thoughts on that? I would love to know. What do you guys think?
What do you think, Teresa?
You want to take that one? I'll take it.
Yeah, I want to hear
it.
No, my theory is, I think that you guys actually, or the CDT was touching on this, a lot last night on her live, that they had the May 2017, the explosion And Anadarko actually got shut down for a while. Like they weren't allowed to go to the sites. Everybody was at these safety meetings, and Anthony Brown says that he met Chris at the safety meetings. I actually believe that NK met him at the safety meetings as well. She had at that time, had worked with Halliburton. Halliburton had been contracted with Anadarko prior. It makes sense that they would all be at these same meetings. Halliburton's, the people who died in one of the explosions that Anadarko had. The whole thing kind of ties together. So I think that they actually met then. I do not believe that the affair started until, I actually think the affair started end of May, beginning of June.
Okay.
Not end of June, beginning of July. So I think it was a little bit longer, like the physical affair, but I think, they had been talking for a while. There's a lot of clues in the fact that they had been talking for a while when she says, I would tell him, get off the phone and go hang out with your kids. Right. But yet his kids were in North Carolina, so he couldn't go get off the phone and hang out with his kids. So that, to me, shows they were talking before. We know that his buddy in San Diego, Mark Jameson, was also told about this other woman. So that's the end of June. So obviously something was already happening by then. And then Chris mentions that he was uncomfortable during the announcement video because of NK. Well, the announcement video was actually recorded May 29th, even though it wasn't posted till June. So I think that there was already something hinky going on there. And then I think that come, the June 12th email she's sending, it's like, thank you for being honest. I think it's because he told her that Shanann was pregnant because she posted it on Facebook the day before. And that's where everything went awry.
Yeah.
That's my theory of how NK entered the picture. So could she have been introduced at the 4th of July thing? Maybe. There's another weird part, though, that I have to add before I turn it over to somebody else. Is if you look at her Facebook, there's photos of the girls dressed in their 4th of July outfits. There's photos of her dressed in her 4th of July outfit, and it's actually from July 3rd, not July 4th. So my thought process is July 4th was a Tuesday that year. So typically, the company will give you like one day off, and maybe they gave them Monday off, or they held like a big work barbecue or something along I don't know this is totally theory, but like maybe there was something happening on July 3rd that everybody's now dressed up in their 4th of July stuff, and maybe there's something that happens with that, like a 4th of July picnic for work or whatever, because on July 4th she posts the same photos of the girls from July 3rd in the same outfits. So I don't know, there could be something with that.
Yeah.
So she just shows up like a stalker?
Oh, I just think that she probably was interested in him, and she was like, I'm going to figure out what makes this guy tick. And my personal opinion is that she was looking at all the stuff on Facebook. She figured out exactly what this guy liked, what he did not like. She watched Shanann's videos. Shanann's very open and says, Chris does whatever I tell him to do. Ha ha ha. Yeah. And she sees this guy who now, his wife sells Thrive. So she's all over the place. If she's looking at Chris's Facebook, because it was active at the same time, she can see that she's posting stuff all over him. She knows that he's into cars. She can see the Shelby Mustang t-shirt that he's wearing. There's all kinds. She knows he's into Metallica. They're bragging about Metallica tickets. I just think there's too much. She purposely became whatever she thought he would need or want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that she did that too. And that was the Google searches and stuff, because normally in a relationship that quick, you're not going to know all of the Shelby Museum and the car stuff. And she knew really, really fast all of that stuff. Yeah. And I absolutely agree that there is some research done there for sure, which I personally find a bit creepy, but that's just my personal opinion. Vanessa, people involved. I was reading Vanessa C's comments the whole time. She's saying that did you say your ex brother-in-law went to prom, Shanann? I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Who? People in the area. I'm trying to catch up with what she was saying.
She said that her ex brother-in-law went to prom with Shanann. And then I think she said that one of her friends' husbands was Chris's boss.
Who was saying that? Who said that?
Vanessa from the chat.
I believe.
Oh, Vanessa, Sky wants you to go over the 2 lazy dogs, which I think is perfect for you because you've panned out all this stuff.
So one of the lazy dogs is not open anymore and closed. And I think that whole thing's weird because there's one, so the one that they went to, I've been to it plenty of times. It's about, I don't know, it's more towards him than her, but I would say it's kind of midpoint. I think the whole two things is weird. And the reason I think it's weird is because she mentions that she went there all the time with her dad. So you would think she would know the menu inside and out if they went there all the time. But then she says when they got there, she didn't like the menu and they leave and go somewhere else. Well, if you already knew the menu, you would know before you went what was on there was going to be healthy enough for you and your macros. So she goes to the other one. Again, another reason that doesn't make sense.
And not only that, too, you think about it, they're on a time limit. And they're going to go, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, any of that.
It doesn't. They drove too far from her place to go eat. But you know where it's not far from is Home Depot. I'm just gonna say it's one exit away from Home Depot where he has a charge on his card. I think it's from Saturday. You can't prove it, but I think it's interesting if they went to Home Depot on their date.
I think they went to the wrong Lazy Dog. I think they're supposed to meet up with somebody, and that's what I think. I just think they went to the wrong one. Because like you said, who does that? Who's like, okay, they don't have the food I want here, but let's go travel somewhere else, even though Chris had to be home by 10 o'clock, and let's go somewhere else. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I think they're meeting up with them.
I have theorized that they ordered food from the Lazy Dog didn't go to the right one.
Me too. But can you order beer to go? I don't know. But I've theorized that too, Teresa.
Do we know that they actually had beer?
How do we know they actually had beer?
Did it say it on the receipt? I don't know now that you're saying that.
See, that's another thing. How do we know they really did order beer?
He says he had a salmon and beer. But I mean,
do we see it on the receipt? I don't know. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
But I thought that too, kind of like an alibi in a way.
I mean, they were busy. She'd Googled a lot of stuff and activities for them to be doing that night. They might not have had time to go out to eat.
Right.
Someone just
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, did they?
They were like, the time was short because they were busy before and after.
Yeah. She said they were intimate.
Yeah.
You know? So
I've done all that research.
So then I have a question. Speaking of Saturday night, why do you guys think that when she got home that night, she decided to Google his address and his father?
I don't know.
Great question.
I mean, the dad, I don't know, but the address, my opinion, I think she was sending someone the address is my opinion. I mean, she knows the address. We know it. She's been there. And I'm sure she had it written down, saved somewhere. And I just think she sent that to someone. I don't know. I don't think she was looking to see if it was on sale yet or on the market yet, like people think. It was too soon. It was barely Saturday? No. I think that she was sending it to someone else. That's my opinion.
I think there could have been somebody else with her when she Googled it, and she was showing them, here's what you see. The back is still construction. We could, whatever. Showing somebody the layout kind of thing. Because who knows who was there? I mean, we don't know.
That's a good
point.
Don't
know. Why do you think she Googled his dad?
Well, that goes into, I do think that Chris was threatened. And this is another, I'm not really, and I hate to be like this 2 years later, but no, I'm not set on any one theory. I don't have a theory that I'm concrete about and won't sway. Yeah. I think it's possible that there were threats. And like Crazy Crime Chick made a video about where Frankie mentioned he was messaging Jamie Watts and she said, we're all scared right now. I can get, maybe they were scared because they thought Chris killed everybody or they didn't know what was going on. But could it also be that possibly Chris said something to his dad on the way to the airport? I got caught up with some bad people. We don't know. I do think Chris is a social idiot. I think he's book smart. I have a brother and he's on this, they call it Asperger's. And he is very smart, you know, with numbers and memory and things like that. Socially, there's not a lot. And I love him to death, but I think Chris was a lot possibly like that. And NK at the Lazy Dog was saying that Chris seemed uninterested in the apartment, that before it seemed like prepping for everything to happen. And just the way Saturday Lazy Dog is really interesting. Then to see what she Googled, I don't know if she Googled that scare him. So I don't know. I'm not trying to diagnose Chris or anything, but I think there's something all there with him.
So that kind of leads more into like what your theory is.
Google of Ronnie is weird.
She's cutting out. Is that me?
No, she's cutting out. I didn't hear a lot of it.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of what Kelly said.
I just think that it's possible. Sorry. I think it's possible that Chris was threatened in some way.
Interesting. Who do you think was doing it?
Can you hear me now? I don't know.
Who do you think was threatening him?
Yeah. I can.
Yeah.
I think it would be the mistress.
So who do you think?
If there was other.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 people in here that are saying that they've got information. I just don't know how for them to get it. Vanessa, if you want to put it in there, go ahead and put it in there. Because I know Larry just made a comment, and then Vanessa C says she has a bunch of info, but she doesn't want to get in trouble. Go ahead and put it in there if you want. And if it's bad, she wants to put it in chat. Something, I don't know. She says she has a bunch of info she wants to put in chat.
Put it in there.
Go ahead.
Put it in there.
In the famous words of. Which is probably totally perfect.
What happened to her?
Look at it. I'm not even drinking. What's in my Dr. Pepper? I literally was going to say something so inappropriate, and it was like,
I know you were going to say
and knock that shit out. It was like, don't do it, Teresa. Don't say it. Don't do it.
You were like, the famous words of ocean.
Oh my god.
I had a
little earthquake view.
With not enough food. And I actually got up to do something. I honestly can't recall what I got up to do. And it was Patreon only, thank God. But I got up to do something, and I came back and like tripped over my ring light and like went falling into the chair, into the computer. And Teresa's just looking at me like, I'm like,
and then she's just like, whatever, like, I'm totally fine. And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, hey, I'm good. And she's just like checking comments.
I'm okay, I'm back.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, all right, let's just keep going then. We're going to pretend like that did not just happen.
That's usually how the lives end, is Teresa just like, oh my God, I wish I drank during these.
I'm like, I think the phone's dying. I think it's time to cut this off. We got to go. Stuff doesn't even know what's happening anymore.
It's always a good time, man. She pretended that her phone died because she was like, okay, she has to get off the air.
Because I couldn't be like Vanessa, dude. Like,
total.
You're dumb. Like, you gotta go.
Oh my God.
Dinner, man. Like, this isn't gonna work.
Only because
like my phone's dying. I didn't know I was trying to save her. But then as I'm like even talking to her, she's like, okay,
I know. I like what I was doing.
Anything? I got nothing? Okay. Sorry, totally off topic, but that's what happens when shit gets dropped in here.
Yeah, we just, and I'm trying not to get there. You never know. We never know what direction. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad my computer was okay. Look, Teresa's okay. She's just laughing.
Glad you're okay.
She's nicer than you. Teresa's just
totally nicer than me.
I know. Oh God. Okay. I missed so many comments laughing. Okay, sorry guys. Good times. What should I? Okay.
Good times.
Oh, okay. So we did have a couple of requests when I was posting the video around. People want to talk about the sleepwalking. Can we talk about the sleepwalking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Story time.
Yes.
So
Tell us, Vanessa, or tell us.
We can tell that story. Vanessa C has a comment too. I won't forget to get back to you, Vanessa, because I just want to see. Anyways, the story is, and I wouldn't call this a story. Would you, Teresa? I would call it fact. I know we're big on clarifying fact. I mean,
This is what we were told.
And we saw. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. So basically what happened was when Bella was a baby, she woke up one night and Chris was not in bed. So she went looking for him and found him in her room over her crib and said, "Get the F away from my baby." And he said in turn that he was sleepwalking. And then she reached out to the family asking if that was true or something that they had known about him doing in the past because it freaked her out. And I find that story, I would think it's funny if someone's like, "That's unbelievable. Look at what happened." I don't find that story that far of a reach, honestly.
Well, then it was interesting because, CK had on the author of the All My Broken Pieces, and she brings up, and at this time we hadn't even really talked about it because it was kind of just what we'd been told or read, and then her story was very similar. It was different, but it was still very similar. So I was like, whoa. So Kathleen Hewson, the author of All My Broken Pieces, she said that Chris was standing over Cece and he was naked with a pillow, and that Shanann came in and said, like, basically, "Get the fuck away from my baby."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So same story. So we don't know if it happened 2 different times, if the child has been, changed from here to there. That we were never talked about naked, so I can't verify that one way or the other. I don't want to put that visual in anybody's mind anyway. But the pillow seems really interesting because one of our points when we were talking about it was, if I woke up in the middle of the night and my husband was taking care of my baby because the baby had woke up and maybe I just didn't hear it or whatever, my first instinct wouldn't be get the fuck away from my baby. It would be, my first instinct would be like, what happened? Is she awake? What happened? But if that's her reaction to it, then it makes me wonder about the pillow or about the naked, really, because naked would be just weird in general, but it makes me think that maybe there's some validity to this pillow talk. I don't know, because we didn't see that part.
No, I agree, because that's the thing I was thinking about too. I was like, okay, if I woke up and seen my boyfriend, I would have just thought, oh, he's waking up with the baby. I wouldn't have freaked out like that. So it makes me wonder, what did she see? What was he doing that made her freak out? Like, get the F away from my baby. That's kind of crazy. So my question next to you guys is, what was the response to that? Do you know? I mean, who was she telling this to is my question. Do you guys know?
Apparently the family. And the family. And she wanted to know what they thought. And I don't really know how that whole story ended. I know that she was upset enough to reach out and ask.
I think she wanted to know if he'd ever had a history of sleepwalking or had done anything like, but I don't know. Like I said, we don't know if he was naked or if there was a pillow. But according to Kathleen, that's the story she was told. So,
right.
And it was Cece, and
he must have been doing. Yeah, he must have been doing something though for her to react that way, because as a mom, who's going to react that way if your husband's right there getting up with the baby?
Right.
So it just makes me wonder.
There has to be something weird to it.
Yeah, I mean, Kathleen went all. She had no filter. She said all kinds of things. So I mean, I listened to that live, and I was like, what? I was like, what the heck? That's insane. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like Chris has deep, dark secrets. I've always felt like that. I mean, his mom said he was in the restroom praying for forgiveness hours at a time. I mean, what is he praying for forgiveness for? I don't know. There's just something that's not right with Chris, I think, at least. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And his relationship with his mom is, I don't know, is kind of, I'm not saying anything in a like, nasty way, but that relationship just seems kind of weird to me too. It's just like delusional.
It is weird in my opinion too. And I absolutely think that there was something wrong with him for a long, long time. that he just hid. That's just my opinion, but I do think that he just tried to hide who he was his whole life, and he just finally couldn't do it anymore. But that he was just trying to keep his image up. I think he was all about image. So
I think too how NK always, she says that he was able to be his self with her, and it just makes me always wonder, like, because I don't know, I think she's crazy and he's crazy. You have a perfect mix right there. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
You bring up a good point, actually, because I think that too. I think that I think those two together were horribly toxic, and maybe anything else, it wouldn't have happened. And that's actually spooky to think about. Maybe if anybody else who had an affair with, maybe everybody would be alive. You never know. There's a lot of what ifs, but you never. I mean, some people are just bad together. They bring out the worst.
That's how I feel about like Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but man, the collision, and I feel like that's probably like a Chris and NK kind of thing. That they just toxic.
I agree.
And there's a whole true crime series, basically. I don't know. I think it's called Fatal Attraction or something like that. And it's basically about couples who kill. And the whole show sort of talks about how they don't believe it would have happened if they weren't together, that they needed that other person to kind of bring it out of them. And that's kind of how I feel with Chris. I don't feel that he was right, but do I feel that this would have happened if he hadn't met the mistress and had those 6 weeks alone? I honestly don't. That's just me.
So you don't think it would have happened eventually anyway?
I don't. I think that it would not have happened if not for that particular person and that time alone with him. That's just my opinion.
I think everything.
But what if it comes out that? Yeah, I know. But then I think, what if the pillow is true? What if he did have a pillow back then? That would be. But then again, that's no fact yet. So.
Right.
It wouldn't stop.
And I mean, I could be wrong. Chris could be extremely sick and have had those thoughts and tendencies all along, and it had nothing to do with anybody else. But just where I'm at right now with what I know, I don't think it would have happened. So that's just my opinion right now, anyways. I don't know. I know. I just wonder, I was going to say, I just wonder if we ever are going to learn more, or if anything more will ever come from this, because we do talk about it a lot, and still picking apart interviews and Discovery, I find new things that stick out to me, but I still wonder if we'll ever get any more.
So what are your thoughts on all the coworkers? And let's talk about these coworkers, because I really wanted to talk to you guys about this, because we've talked in Patreon about it, but we have a couple mods that are very that think that a couple of the coworkers are very sus. Let's just say that. And so, and I know that when we refer to it, we always talk about them and we talk about you guys, because I know that that's something that you and Amber have talked about, in your videos. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So again,
I'm like a kid in a candy store, because this is not my forte. Like I think there's some suspicious things, but it's one thing, like I've never jumped down that rabbit hole. I don't know if Vanessa ever ended up down that rabbit hole, but like I said, a couple of our mods are like, you got to look at this stuff. Like you have to look at it.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'll see.
Well, I mean, hey Mexi. So it took me a long time to go that route, really. Not until I would say probably June of 2020 did I really start to look at the coworkers, and that was because of Amber. She's like, Kelly, listen to their interviews and with an open mind, and pretend you don't know them, you don't know their personality, etc. You don't know their background, their past. So I first listened to Troy. I think it's very suspicious how, first of all, we don't have the audio of his first interview. We only have the notes. And that was on Wednesday, August 15th. He left out that he returned to Survey 319 on Tuesday, August 14th. He did not tell law enforcement this. They found out about it on Thursday while Baumhover was there with other law enforcement. They found out from the water truck guy. His name was Chris Ostrander. It's in Discovery. And he basically said, yeah, there was this guy here. He signed off on my, I think it's a JOI, a job site analysis, something like that. And that was Troy McCoy. Well, they found out Troy was parked in Discovery. It says adjacent, near and adjacent to where Shanann's grave was. So it's just a little concerning how, first of all, Troy left that out. Second, he told the water truck guy he was there looking for an 8-inch crescent wrench. He didn't mention to the water truck guy that why he was there, that there was missing people, and maybe he was a man and didn't want to bring that up. I can understand that. Also, when you go to Troy's verbal interview with his times, they don't match his GPS. So when you hear where Troy was pulling over to take a call from Chris or declining a call from Chris or left his house late, it doesn't add up to what his GPS tells us in the Discovery. So that part kind of bothers me. Troy also said that he sent an email Friday night about a safety issue. And then he also describes himself as lazy. So if you're lazy, why are you sending an email on Friday night? It just kind of contradicted. And they asked Cody, another coworker, why was Troy even there? They didn't really understand why they needed 2 field supervisors or coordinators at 319. And Cody responds, oh, maybe he was bored. So if you're, and then Troy also talks about how far out 319 is. So again, it's just a lot. And the day that McCoy went to the Watts home with his wife, and at least one child is in pictures, they made vision boards. That was in January of 2018. And that is the same day that NK Googled Shanann Watts.
That's
the
weird.
Same day the McCoy visited the home. And Chris was closest to McCoy at work. And he sent him that video of an explosion in Kansas where he was from. So, again, I have always, once I really went into it, and I have to thank Amber for that, but I've thought, did McCoy know NK? And maybe that's how they got Chris on the radar for the explosion plan. And yeah, that's another, that's the thing with his GPS, Lynn, is his verbal times don't match the GPS. And you could think he's confused, he doesn't remember. I'll give him that, but it's not just one thing, it's quite a few things. And then Cody, another coworker, if you listen to his interview, there's really no emotion, which he's a man, maybe that means nothing, but he doesn't really want to give the survey numbers. He's very vague in what he's saying. And even I think Stacey Galbraith is the one who interviewed him. She's like, let me get this right. I'm a little confused kind of thing. And Cody's like, oh, sorry. Like he doesn't seem like he's really wanting to help. So and
then Cody and Troy are actually tied together as well. So they have history. They've known each other for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then the Fire Stick meeting. There's that where McCoy mentions that, NK mentions that, and it happens to be the exact time Cody calls in the leak. And Chris overhears it on speaker and says, I'll go. And
that whole thing is really suspicious. Really, really.
Yeah.
And because we already talked about where it was suspicious. It's en route to Rogan. The timing is extremely convenient, like you just said. That's hard to believe. Good timing. The minute they pull up, what was he there for? Kelly, you might remember the exact amount. Wasn't it 3 to 4 minutes or something like that? That he was there.
Right.
It wasn't long. No, it wasn't long.
Yeah.
Well,
and also
the other weird part about the same time, somebody else's phone is pinging very close to the same area.
Of course. You're just reading my mind. So then you put the whole thing that NK is off work half a day. She's in Brighton, which why is she in Brighton? And then, yes, there's an Anadarko kind of place in Brighton. But if you look at where he allegedly is and where she was pinging from last, or that area, that's only if you guys are familiar with Denver Metro, which probably aren't. that's only about 10 minutes away from each other. And they aren't talking that whole day. So are we supposed to believe that these people that talk all day, every day, they don't talk that day until what, 9 p.m. or something like that? But they're only 10 minutes apart, please. And he's lying about where I absolutely think they were together on Friday.
Yeah, NK's phone log on that Friday is off.
Yep.
It's odd.
Right.
It is. And
where was she all afternoon?
Yeah.
And why is she so close to where he was?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple weird things, because then the other part, going back to Troy, is Troy never mentions anything about her.
No, neither does Cody. Anthony Brown, in my opinion, in his verbal interview, he mentions NK and Chris standing close at the water cooler. Mm-hmm. He said, I think 5 months prior. He's the only one who mentions NK and shows emotion. And again, they're men, whatever, but that's just my, take from it all.
Yep, I agree. And then did you already touch on this? Because I'm also reading comments too. And then what about the fact that on her, and it relates back to Troy because it's Friday. What about on her phone, how her office is blowing her up? What is it, like 6 calls within a short period of time? 1:30?
Yep.
And it never happens any other time. You don't ever have the amount of calls from work, no matter whether she was there or not there that day. She never has that amount of calls from work, but yet, she gets like 6 calls. She's returning calls all afternoon regarding, who knows, something health and safety related.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. And we don't know any more about that, but I would love to talk to Anthony Brown. I agree with you 100%. He seems so genuine and like someone who was actually telling the truth the whole time. And that's what really got us going. Cause wasn't it that would put them in March when we know she started working there, end of March, beginning of April. But, and then we know she's Googling them. So but Friday is interesting. That's why I like putting things together with other creators like you that know a lot about it, because I've always thought they were together on Friday, and even that she met the girls on Friday.
I think so too.
Yep. I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that stuck out to me on NK's interview, she said, if I had met the girls, maybe we could have painted pottery. She mentions painting pottery. And if you look at the body cam, going up the basement steps, actually right where those bins are. So if you're going up the basement steps on the left, where that storage unit container thing is, there's like a ledge and there's some paintbrushes sitting out right there. And they're in the pack that I'm like, did NK bring those? I mean, who knows? I just feel like she says things that are on her radar for a reason.
Yep.
So those paintbrushes just stuck out to me because I feel like Shanann would have had them in a drawer or with art supplies, but they were just sitting right out on that ledge leading up from the basement steps. And then NK's talking about painting pottery with the girls. So
that's weird.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time, guys, on this. So
I know. Well, honestly, when I watch you live, like I love that you're like when you're live, you like are going through Discovery, and then you're like, searching, like, okay, you guys want to see something particular? Here it is, blah blah blah. Vanessa and I, we're like winging it, and then Crazy's over there, putting her little pieces together and making her, little mini docs, and but I mean, it's so good because everybody's a little bit different, and so. You're able to catch different things. Like, Vanessa's not the one who goes through like the body cams and stuff. And then you guys are over there, like, here's, line by line. It's just different. And it makes all these pieces fit together. And there's so much here. I just don't know why anybody thinks that it's one person could do it by themselves. I shouldn't say it like that, but one person could go through all of it and know all of it by themselves. There's so much that we have. That's why you guys diving into coworkers, you diving into NK, or whatever. It's those pieces all fit together in the end, and we need multiple people to do that. There's not always just one detective on a case. There's multiple.
Nope. And I don't know how people can still say that she's just a mistress. I don't understand those people that get mad if you think she's involved. I'm like, it gets me so upset. She didn't do anything wrong. Are you kidding me? She lied to law enforcement. Last time I
can't even respond to those people anymore. Crazy. Like those, they're legit crazy, because it's like, she's not just a mistress. Yeah. She actually broke the law. I posted, I don't know how many times in the last 2 years, what laws she actually broke. And she's not just some poor girl who was lied to. She lies. She is a liar. And lying to a federal agent is against the law.
Yep.
Like, there's not a lot to have to comprehend there. It's pretty simple.
Yep. We've talked about this in other cases.
So why do you guys think?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, why do you guys think then that they just let her get away with everything? They knew she was lying about stuff. Why do you think they just let it be? I mean, they had her as a witness so early on without even investigating her, which blows my mind. They didn't even look at her apartment, and Chris was there for 6 weeks straight. It's just, I get it.
That's crazy too.
Yeah. I've always had an issue with the fact that she states that they stayed at her house. He states they stayed at her house and they took her car. There's a reason she doesn't want to bring her car to the police station. She never drives it there. They have to pick her up or her daddy brings her. That's weird. She does not want her vehicle around them. But why don't they get warrants for her apartment where this guy who just murdered his whole family has been staying? What evidence could be there? Who knows? What evidence could be in her truck? Yep. Who knows? They don't have cause of death yet. So why not look at all those places? I don't know. It's always been pretty fishy to me. I mean, and I've gone through probably 15 theories of why, and I don't have one that's concrete because I go, well, maybe it's this. Well, maybe it's that. Well, maybe it's this.
And people's favorite excuse is that, it was redacted. They did search her car. They did go to her house. It's redacted. That's the biggest thing I see all the time in my comments is it's redacted. I'm like, no, it's not.
The only reason it would be redacted is if it is actually a separate investigation that they took all that information and put it into an investigation with her. Otherwise, it would be all searched. All those searches were done. You know, the other two cars were searched simultaneously, one and then right after the other one was searched. So you'd think that would be, if it was part of his case and they found evidence about him, then it would be part of his discovery.
Right.
But
Melissa B says, does anyone think it's odd that no one from NK's past friends or family has ever come out and talks about her? Yeah. Absolutely. It's really weird.
Wait, I thought that was her aunt and cousin. I mean, what happened?
Yeah.
Sorry. I forgot about them.
They were out to get you guys. Oh my God.
I know. Not huge fans of Unmasked. That's okay. That was so funny. Someone on Patreon put that up and I was like, who the hell is this? And why is she so angry? Why
is she mad?
Why is she so mad?
I thought it was funny because like she was like so pissed off at like the Unmasking NK series, which is phenomenal. If anybody hasn't watched it, you should.
It's amazing.
But it was so funny because she was like talking about how NK was like a crackhead and CPS and she couldn't take care of her own kid and now they're taking care of her kid and how she sleeps around. And I was like, dude, we didn't say any of that kind of stuff in the Unmasked. Yet this is what you think of your own cousin / niece? That's crazy.
That's a good point. That was pretty, no, I do think that's really weird because I think, you always hear from people. I mean, think of any other case. You always hear from somebody comes out of the woodwork. And even the people we've found don't want to talk. And we found some people and we talked about that.
Oh, why?
They don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm. Are they scared? I just don't get it.
I don't think they're scared. They don't want any part of anything that is going on with her.
666 watching. Someone needs to come on or go off. So they didn't investigate NK further because CW stopped the clock. Government agency can't continue an investigation and spending taxpayer dollars. Told to shut it down. Yeah, I agree. I think whenever that case is closed. Okay. Yes, Chris is closed. Do I think that there could possibly be another case open? I absolutely do think that. Mm-hmm. And I know it's been 2 years. It's another favorite. But you remember Tammy saying on which show is it? Reels, maybe? That they have no problem taking years to build a solid case.
Yeah, she purposely says that. I'm sorry, that's on purpose.
I think it's purpose too. God, we think the same. It's like we share a brain. I totally agree. Do you guys think that? You crazy CDT, do you guys think that there's possibly a case open?
I mean, I hope there is. God, I hope there is. I mean, I don't know. I hope there is. I don't know.
I hope there. I'm like you, Crazy. I think I hope there is. Do I think so? I don't know. I'm not hopeful, honestly, because they just didn't seem to give a shit.
Yeah,
I do
agree.
wonder if I've said, like, I think that there's a case that's open, but doesn't mean it's active. Like, it doesn't mean that they're out, like, there's a bunch of agents that are out working on an active case. There could be, a potential, here's a case file, in case anything does come up, if we get tips, if we get this, if we get that, then, we pursue them, because there isn't, and it's just not an active case is what in my opinion. But I don't think they ever shut the door. The only way they shut the door, or there's two possibilities that in my thought process. One is if it was a huge cover up. If it's a huge cover up that they
with
cannot
law enforcement, you mean?
Well, law enforcement, there's a couple higher people, district attorneys and such. If there is a huge cover up, I just don't know why they would allow her to come out looking like a slut. I mean, they literally say, like, the person who's writing the reports is saying, like, and by no means is this the only time she's Googled porn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're trying to protect her. They kind of make her look like shit. So that's kind of weird. But the only other way I could see it is if she turned. If she turned and was a Crystal Kenny. And we just don't see it because it never went to trial. So we don't see what happened with her because the dad's like, hey, so there's... In Discovery, you see that she talks to them at the park, and the next day there's conversations that are happening via phone that are like 45-50 minutes long. We don't have audio, video, transcripts, nothing from those. And then all of a sudden,
what's up with that? Why not?
Yeah. She goes in and she has this conversation with her dad, and I know everybody's like, why was her dad allowed? Why was her dad allowed? My thought is, why does she have a conversation with her dad on the 15th, then again on the 16th? But when she goes back in what, the 21st, 23rd, 21st, there is no dad. So why doesn't dad feel the need to come then?
That's interesting.
And she also tells Kobach, something like, I don't need my dad doesn't know everything, or he doesn't need to know everything. She said something like that, but on her phone, she's talking to her dad left and right.
When you were talking about all the dirty shit you were doing with your boyfriend and why daddy came down here with you. So I think daddy knows enough.
No, but she's also lying too, because on her phone bill, when she talks to any agent, anybody, she calls her dad right after, or her dad calls her beforehand. So her dad's aware of everything going on. So when she says that her dad doesn't know everything, I'm like, yeah, he does. Your phone bill says something completely different. Your dad knows everything.
And they're talking almost the exact same time. So it's literally like, here's the conversation I have, and now here's me repeating it for the exact same amount of time. So that's also kind of included. But why didn't he go to the next one? Why did she feel safe enough to go by herself then?
That's a good point.
And then there is, and Vanessa would know what this is actually called probably more than I would, but there are some things where you cannot, if you're in this type of, like, it's not necessarily witness protection, but it's witness protection, I guess you would. I mean, it's not called that though, but you have 2 years where you can't do anything.
It's the Colorado. There is a victims program that you can do, and it's not witness protection level, but it is something that you can hide your stuff, hide your address, all of that stuff, and it's for victims and witnesses in high-profile cases. So
for 2 years.
So you think that's what she was under?
Well, then I think all of a sudden 2 years later, guess what happens?
Yeah,
she changes her name.
Yep. That would make sense.
I think
so I don't know. That's what I said. Those are my thoughts, my theories.
I think it's definitely possible. We've been getting a lot of questions about NA in the basement. A lot of questions.
Oh my God. Are people believing it?
No. Well, people are asking what we think of it, really.
I think it's BS. I think they are just trying to, I don't know. It's weird how they try to say NK is so innocent, but then they're trying to throw Nicole Atkinson. I just don't get that. So to me, they're just distraction. That's all I see. And I tell people all the time, it's just a distraction. Maybe because they know certain things happen that night. So, hey, let's put her there. You know what I mean? It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, why does the NK stuff not ever come up? And when she popped up on CDT, they did a really good job of, like, you don't even acknowledge. You're not even acknowledging her. And she's like, "Who? What? Where? When? What?" Yeah, but obviously this woman played a huge part in it.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that the Ruziks did a really good job throwing in the bits and pieces of her they did in Netflix, because after Netflix, the interest in her blew up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, if they didn't do that on purpose, man, they're smarter than I ever gave them credit for.
That was well played. They did. They said so much without saying anything. It was genius. I agree. Oh, thank you, Callie. Kimberly wants to know, what about the phone on the weight bench in the basement? What do we think about that?
The more I've thought about it, the fact that the officer described it as an iPhone, I kind of think it might have just been Chris's work phone. But I don't know. I mean, I do think it's a little frustrating that they didn't look more into it or pick it up. But a lot of people said they couldn't because, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know. But they didn't look at it. They just told the fairs and left it there and basically said Chris can go get it. So we'll never really know. But the fairs did say Chris had one on him. So I think it's possible it could have just been his work phone and he did work out down there and left it. I don't know.
I agree. I wish we would see it on the body cam on Monday and not just Tuesday.
Yeah, it wasn't there Monday.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting that these certain people that keep putting up this crazy stuff, and I'm open to all theories. Obviously, that's how you learn more stuff. But they're so closed to things that there is evidence against, like people being there. But then they want to throw people under the bus that there's zero things to support that. Mm-hmm. That's the irony that I find with it. It's like, no, ignore everything that's right there in black and white. We're just going to randomly throw this out there, but you're stupid if you can't see it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Right.
That's how it is with the NA in the basement thing. I mean, it's like they couldn't, I guess they figured, oh, well, we can't go anywhere with the GPS, so let's throw her under the bus under being in the basement. And when I heard that, I was like, how do you even, I stopped listening. I don't even know what they said after that. It was just so ridiculous to me. So she's sleeping in the basement.
One of the things we're talking about is that Chris tells Boomhover on Monday, the 13th, that he worked out for 15 minutes in the basement.
But originally he didn't say that, remember?
Originally he says he didn't. Then he says he did. Yeah. On Monday he told both. And then in the February confession, he also said, I might have worked out in the basement. I don't really remember.
I think he's only saying that because that's what they think. Because originally he was like, I didn't go to the basement. I didn't go in there at all. So now all of a sudden they throw, you sure you didn't go in there to work out? Or what about the trash bags? And all of a sudden he's in the basement now and he was working out. I don't know.
He says that on the 13th, he tells Dave both of those. He tells him that he went down and made his lunch and got ready for work, and then he went back up. And then when Dave asked him again the same day, he says, no, I worked out for 15 minutes, and then I went back up and had the emotional conversation. And then of course he denies working out. Then he goes back to saying that he did work out. So if NA is in the basement and Chris works out, does he not notice her?
She's right there on the bed with the mask.
I mean, if she's like in a deep ass sleep that she doesn't even notice that he's down there working out, I don't know. That just doesn't doesn't happen. So then you go to, well, Chris is a liar, which we can all agree upon. But then then we pick and choose once again. What do we believe and what don't we believe? So somebody wants to say, well, he didn't really work out. He lied about it. And I, on the other side, want to say, well, he did work out and he's lying that he didn't. Now we're stuck in the same impasse. It's like the stupidest thing. I can't prove that he did, and the other people can't prove he didn't. So why do we fight about it is what I don't get. Why do people come out so hardcore? Well, he didn't work out. He didn't work out. He didn't work out. And this is just one example. But they're like so adamant. But if I'm like, how do you know that? Well, because Chris said so. But you just called Chris a liar. So how do you know that Chris is telling you the truth?
Amen.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm in other Facebook groups for different crimes, and this is the only group or anything dealing with the Chris Watts that people get so heated over. And if you have a theory against their theory, they attack you for it. I don't think I've ever had so many death threats over a damn case in my whole life. This is insane. It's so, I don't get it. This case brings out the crazy in people, like not in a good way.
The legit crazy.
Let's see more questions because I know I've missed so many. I'm trying to keep up on here. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that.
I think he did have an iPhone. Wasn't it a white one? His iPhone?
I think
Yeah.
Black case phone? Yeah. Because
see.
wasn't his phone too on the counter in the kitchen? Remember when they first walk and they're like, whose phone is that? And they're like, oh, I think it's Chris's.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was white.
I think so too. And that's the thing. I mean, the basement phone could have been a burner phone, but the fact that she described it as an iPhone, I mean, I don't know how burner phone, I guess that's something I could look more into. But the
I don't
fact
think
that
an iPhone would be a burner phone.
I don't either.
No.
But here's the weird thing. You remember in the interview, Chris is talking about, and he says,
I saw that.
He says, hopefully Shanann gets a burner phone and contacts us.
Yes.
Why is he talking about burner phones?
Yes.
I was talking about that with somebody else yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why is he bringing up burner phones?
When
She's
people say
supposedly
Chris
with
didn't
her
know about
friend.
burner phones, I'm like, why would he say burner phone? He could have been like, oh, she would go with a friend or go somewhere, but it's like, no, get a burner phone. Like, why is a burner phone on your mind?
Her friend, right? If she's with her friend, why doesn't it just say she'll use her friend's phone? And if she's in danger, wouldn't it be like, hopefully she can get to a phone? But instead, no, she needs to buy a burner phone to call it. It's like, that is the weirdest. That is weird. Somebody else brought that.
It is weird. It is weird. Yes, that is weird. I agree.
There's so many. Tammy Lee mentions, oh, hey, Allie. Tammy mentions a lot of involvement in the basement that morning. They do. I think they do have stuff. And we've talked about the sleep. I know you guys have probably talked about that too, but there's no sleep on Shanann's phone that night. They do. I do think that we're missing a lot of parts of her iPhone. I think that night, didn't we talk about that on one, Teresa? And yeah, there is a lot of stuff. Like I said, like we were talking about earlier, they have a ton of stuff that we haven't seen, which I find interesting. 92% as Sergeant Albert told me, but like we were saying last week, that 8% is really good. I'd love to get
really good shit that we don't get.
Really good shit. Yeah.
I want to ask you guys the famous question that I like to ask anybody. If you could get one piece of evidence and you could only have one piece from what we know they have and they redacted, what piece would you ask for?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would want the Vivint. I want to see what was on Vivint. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And like what, they say these calls are recorded because I've called Vivint and what did Chris say on that call when he called them? It's recorded out there somewhere, and they had the Vivint records, right? Crazy, sealed for like 90 days, and they were supposed to open them. That's something Amber's really looked into. Yeah, that's a good one. I would also love just in Kay's video interview, that second interview with her. The video. I think that would show us a lot about her demeanor. And I want all of it recorded, not just the written transcripts after the recording cuts off.
Yeah, I agree.
The rumor is that in the original Discovery, the whole thing was there. And obviously, I don't know anybody at this point that's downloaded all of it from the original dump, the one that came out like right off the bat.
Right.
But I didn't have it then, so I know when that one went away is when I requested the first time. And then, of course, I didn't download all of it. So then I was like, well, shoot, that was dumb. So then I had to request again so I could download all of it.
I also want more of Nate's camera footage.
Yes.
Yeah, that I want.
Someone just wrote, that's what I was just going to talk about, Leslie, to cut down that bush. That damn bush.
Yes, Brooke. Sure.
I hate that bush too.
It's like the most hated bush in the world.
Yes.
It is. So many secrets that bush has. Okay.
Vanessa, what evidence would you pick?
Yeah.
Oh, for fun, I would like to see those alleged, bipolar tapes.
I knew you were going
to say that.
That's just for fun, though. For like figuring stuff out.
For shits and giggles. Just watch NK's like phone videos.
The geolocations, yeah, for shits and giggles. The geolocations on the phone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
I want that CD that has all 4 of the phone dumps. Just give me that CD, and I think I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
They called about, and they weirdly, you know, how many times we've called for records on a case, and they called me back, and instead of the records person calling me back, it was Sergeant Albert, and then wanting to know who I was, why I wanted it, and I think I got 6 phone calls that day on that one request for the CD, which we never ended up getting.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when you have 92%. What else do you people want? I was like,
well, I want to know why we're talking to Commander Egan and not just the records people. That's the first thing I want to know. Why did the commander or a sergeant need to be involved in a records request?
He was referring to him. He referred to him as like conferring with him, talking on the phone. So he was conferring with Commander Egan, which I thought was, again, interesting, just for a simple records request. Very interesting, but that's just me. And then as the calls back, the sheer number, I was like, that's 6 calls today. I just wanted the damn CD. That's all I wanted, but I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We didn't get it. That's all right.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
You tried. That's all you can do.
All right, so
what
who
about
do you guys think September lady is? Oh, for me, it's the phone dumps, 100%. Okay. Yeah, I have no doubt. There's no doubt. I want the CD with the phone. That one CD has all 4 phone dumps on it, and I think that has the answers to everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would be very surprised if we couldn't figure out almost every answer to every question. Why is she pinging? Where exactly did she ping? How far away was she from the tower when she pinged? There's so much that could go along with that. Then you'd see all the geolocations that the phone went through. You're going to have all of the health apps, all your Life 360 apps that seem to be really relevant at this moment. You're going to have all of that stuff. I think that's what I would want. And all the missing freaking messages that they may not have gotten all of them, but I guarantee you they have a lot more than these people.
Do you think they have any messages that said anything that could incriminate NK? Do you think?
Well, we don't technically see the message that they talk about where he asked her, did you say anything about like not wanting him to have kids or wishing that he didn't have kids, or like, we know that there's messages that they have that we didn't see because they talk about them. So why are they important enough to bring up? What's the context of the conversation that's happening? It's not about, that Chris is the only one that likes the kitty. It's obviously there's something bigger about the reason he has kids and why she doesn't want to be with him. You know what I mean? Like, there's more context to that whole conversation that I think is very important. The fact that she says nobody knew about Chris. You know darn well that obviously Charlotte did. You know her friend Brittany did, because Brittany's the one that's responding to her after the cabin saying, and she's like, well, she's mad about it, but her parents went through something like this, so she doesn't approve, but I don't care. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, kind of, whatever. That's my impression.
You have to really get him doing that. She has to really get a great impression. She's going to get so much.
That was a good one.
But NK, that's NK on the 4th of July, because, okay, let's talk about the 4th of July for just a second. Yeah, I think that this crazy stalker did not get invited over. I think she was pissed. She was like, who the F are you to leave me when I'm in the shower and you're not supposed to even be talking to her, and now you're going to go home just so you can talk to her? And so my thought is, and there's no way he invited her over, because he's shampooing the carpets. You don't
you're wet.
This hot chick.
He didn't even say he invited her. Yeah.
Shampoo carpets and be all gross and yucky, and you're not doing that. You know what I mean? And then the front door is blocked. So she's like up in the ring camera, like, Chris, where are you? Chris, I know you're in there. Come on, Chris, where'd you go? Open the door. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, open the door. And he's like, shit, all right. Like, what? Like, I'm shampooing. What do you want?
Yeah.
She's like, I can fix your macros on your phone. No, she didn't. She was like, I'm going to see what you've been texting her, and I'm going to see you're still saying you love her, and you're still saying this, and you're saying that, and that's why he's deleting all of his shit and changing shenanigans.
Yes. Why would he be deleting stuff from Shanann? That's kind of odd.
I agree. Totally. That's like one of my
Well,
favorites.
that's what I think about NK on 4th of July, and I don't think she was over there to sit on wet carpet and fix any fucking macros.
Hell no.
Liar, liar.
Heck no. Heck no. Is that the day they ate carrots? Is that the day? Or was it the 14th they had carrots?
The 14th.
I only had chicken and carrots because that's all we had to eat.
Because that's all he had.
How do you even have fucking chicken and carrots? Probably empanadas.
That's another thing I wish.
Sorry.
Empanada. I can't think of the word empanada the same anymore.
I can't.
I don't even want an empanada ever again.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think I've ever had an empanada.
I don't either, but I don't even want to know what one is at this
I don't
point.
want one.
I don't know what to do with them. I don't even care if it's like the best freaking dessert type of thing in the whole world. It's disgusting and I don't want it.
I want
Oh
nothing.
my God.
No, I don't want one either.
Oh man.
I didn't know that. Dave Baumhover said to one of the cops after arriving on this scene, I think he hit his garage door opener when I got here.
Huh.
It was Baumhover. I don't think it was Baumhover. I think it was that other officer when they're in their back. He does say that to somebody else. He says, I think Chris hit the garage. Yeah, he thinks he lied about it. But I don't think it was Baumhover.
That he hid the garage door opener when he got there?
Yeah, when they go back to search the house, the officers that went back, when they go in the back of the house, I forget which two it was, but I know it wasn't Baumhover. One of them said that they think Chris lied and actually had the clicker with him or something like that. Yeah.
But Chris did have the clicker with him.
No, but they think he was lying about how it didn't work and all this stuff with the garage. Yeah.
Oh, that the keypad thing didn't work. Yeah. But then Frank says it didn't work either. So
yeah, Frank did say that. But they did mention that they thought Chris was lying about the garage thing in the back.
That's weird. I don't remember that.
I don't either. Yeah, that is weird.
It's in the one where they go back for the search of the house, like around 4 something, when they come back with 3 of them, I think. That's when they talk about it. Yeah.
Why do we think September Lady is important?
What do you guys think that is? I'm interested to know what you guys think. I don't think it was NK. I don't think she'd go back in September to get what she needed to get. I don't think it was her. I think maybe.
When I tried to say that she would hire somebody, Vanessa made a very good point on the fact that she wasn't going to have anybody else involved. But then we know that she included some of her friends in, saying that they had affairs with him. So I don't know. I also don't. Part of me thinks that it was somebody who was trying. So a little bit longer of a theory here, because on the 21st, this chick breaks in or tries to break in and opens the screen or whatever is happening and tries to get in the house. The 22nd, the Ruziks are asked to fly back with Shanann's luggage, which is a whole nother conversation. But they come back, and then what is it? The 24th? Is it the 23rd, 24th? They're moving all the stuff out of the house. So my thought is like, did somebody break in to try to like steal like a murder memento? I mean, like, there's normal.
But then to go through the front, and what was it at 9 a.m.? Was it at 9 a.m.? Yeah, 9 a.m. Daylight. Who goes during the daytime to? I don't know. It's just weird. That whole situation is weird.
Well, it would make sense to go during the daytime because now you have all these mourners who are out there who are bringing candles and stuffed animals and, signs and cards. So if I'm going to walk up, I can just act like I'm one of them and then try to get in the house.
I don't know. It just seems too scary. I don't know. To the day, I don't know. I just think it's weird. I don't know. Maybe at night, I don't know.
To get the clothes, like who gives a shit? Why would you just leave your clothes there? That doesn't make any sense to me either.
No, they're trying to say it was to get wasn't it to get the oxy? Isn't that what they're saying? Something like that.
Was to get the clothes.
Yeah, I'm hearing it's to get the oxy, and I'm like, I don't think it was to get the oxy.
I think it was to get the oxy. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think, in my personal opinion, it was either NK with her family that needed to get something out of there, or it was just somebody who was trying to get in to steal something of this family that had been murdered. And that's why the Ruziks were told to empty the house, get everything out of there, because people are going to get in there and they're going to steal it. And there's a lot of valuable things in there that you're going to want.
See, that would make more sense, though, realistically, someone trying to break in and get something out of there. But for NK to go back, even with their family, what the hell did you leave in there that you had to get out of there? It just, I don't know, she distanced herself so much from everything, but yet go back in there to get something. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, I don't know.
kind of weird. But they showed me the video.
I don't see any real in between there. It's either one or the other. There's some wacko who's trying to get in to get something, or there's some other wacko who's trying to get something that's hers.
I don't know if you guys seen the video. She has it up where when they go back to search the house, the drawer in the restroom is open. Like if somebody was going through something and just left it open. And I think there was I don't know, I think there was a white container on the floor also too. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, it was just weird. And the officers noticed it too. So I don't know.
No, we don't know if the door was left open though, right?
That's true. Yeah, we don't. But it is something that when they went in there, that even the officers noticed it because they went and looked. And it just looked like if you're looking for something, you leave the drawer open and they're like, shit, someone's here and they run out. I don't know. Why are you laughing?
I was laughing at that comment, the comment that she just put up on the screen.
Oh, what does it say? Do you guys know?
I answered her in chat, but I think we all do as YouTubers. I think that we all do. Yeah. And unfortunately, we can't put it all out there. So maybe sometimes if we push in a direction, there could be a reason for it. Maybe.
Well, yeah. When I found out we weren't Patreon, I was like, great. Now I have to watch what I say on here. Great.
Come on, Patreon. I'll send you the link next time. Because that's
I'm like, I gotta watch what I say now. Damn it. I'm like, okay, I can't say this. I can't say that.
Let's really say a little bit more on a public live. We have to be more careful, but I feel like, I think we do. And I think all of us YouTubers, most of us YouTubers probably do in one form or another. It's a weird time. And it's just, that's how it seems to work out now with cases. And then like we were talking about this on Profiling Evil. You have to draw a line and decide what you can say and what you can't, because it can be a big deal. Even though you want to tell everything and people want to hear everything, sometimes you just can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you can't. There's some things that are bigger, and there's some things that are just said in confidence that are not, that are between friends, and we're not gonna repeat it. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. But it does lead to help understand, it does lead to where our theories come from. So if that helps at all.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are really good with not saying too much. Sometimes I'll do a video and then I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have said that much, or maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should take that part out, or maybe I shouldn't do that. And it's too late because I already uploaded it. I'm like, oh man. Wow, whatever. Come for me, whoever wants to.
That happens to us sometimes. That happens to me sometimes if I have a couple cocktails and we're on a Patreon live and then we'll get done. I usually look at Teresa like to see if she's giving me the eyes. But
that's why I wanted Amber here tonight, because I was like, Amber, first thing I told Amber was, if I start saying too much about certain things, just text me and say like, hey, be quiet. I was like, okay.
Now she's all busy and can't do that. Well, I would say that there's nothing that's been said in Patreon as of now that is not being said out here. Like, we're not keeping anything like, there's no like top secret shit happening over there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that.
We're just going to be a little more.
We're not going to say it. We're not saying it in a group. We're not saying it on YouTube. We're not saying it anywhere because we're not. We were told in the confidence of not saying it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not like I'm not going to talk about whatever we can here and keep it for Patreon.
Well, one thing I've always think is like, I always say something. If I don't want it to get out, I won't say it. You know what I mean? Like, where I got to be careful because shit always gets put out there when you don't want it to be.
This person ALG says, we don't know more. We just pretend that we do.
Some days.
So here's the thing. You can't prove a negative. Like, it doesn't work. So it doesn't really matter. I don't care whether you think we know anything or not.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I wish that was the case. Sometimes I think we all do. I think it's stressful. There's a lot of stress that goes on with these. Sometimes it's fun to like come up with new theories or have stuff, and then sometimes it's just really stressful. I don't know how.
I have a question. What do you guys think? What's your guys' theory? I'd like to know what you guys think. Vanessa's like, I can't say.
It's hard. It is. You guys know it's really hard to say a theory because there's so much that changes. I could tell you a theory right now, and literally next week, if we did this live, something is going to have happened or changed or made me think one way or another. We've all been really open-minded and tried to look at this from like, is it possible that Shanann did it? Is it possible that Chris did it all alone? Is it possible that somebody else was there? Is it possible that somebody else knew? Is it possible somebody else helped plan it? Nobody actually knows the answer to any of that except for him. And other than that, we're all trying to piece it together. So when I find different pieces, I go, ooh, well, yeah. I think that's what infuriates me when I hear about the newer YouTubes that are literally just like, I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm the only one that knows it. So if you want to know it, you're going to come here. And I'm like, shit, you got the same shit we do. Like, you don't know anything. Like, you don't know anything for fact because there isn't enough fact to put it all together. So I have no problem with anybody who has an open mind and wants to look at different things. I've been in, many groups where people think that, Shanann did do it. I appreciate that they know that I don't believe that, and we've always been respectful, and they come with why they think that. Like, here's, this is why we think that. This is why. It's not just, making fun of a dead woman. It's like, this is why we legitimately feel this way, and without proof of more, we can't go one way or the other. It's the same way I feel about my theory. So I just wanted to put that out there because I really do. I respect a lot of theories. I just don't respect people who think they know everything when you have literally the same information and you're just inputting your own shit into it.
Yeah.
So that's my disclaimer.
I agree with you on that. No, I agree with you on that too, because I like hearing if someone thinks, like I talk to someone all the time and they actually think Shanann did it. And I talk to them and we have such an adult conversation all the time. And I'm like, okay, why do you think it? Tell me why. And it's just interesting to hear, even though I don't agree with it. I think Shanann didn't do it. But I mean, that's how it should be. You have an adult conversation about it instead of attacking each other and be like, no, my theory's correct. It's like, no, none of us were there. Like, that's why people come to me all the time now. They always email me saying, have you seen this? Have you heard this? Did you see what this person says? And I always say the same thing. I'm like, I can't bash someone else for putting their theory out there. I can't, because I don't want no one to bash me. I have my theory. I think others are involved, and I hate when people come at me for it. I'm like,
you're so stupid. Why would you think that? You know, Chris did this all by himself. You're such an idiot. I don't even know why you're on YouTube anymore.
No, or they say like, oh, you must like Chris. You like Chris. You have a crush on him. Oh my God.
You're just trying to get Chris out of. I love that. You're trying to get Chris out of prison. You're just trying to get Chris. I don't know why everybody tries to take the responsibility away from him. I'm like, no, I think Chris.
I hate that.
But I also think there's other pieces of shit.
Yeah, I definitely think what makes me mad though about that whole thing is that if somebody's already, and I am big on victim bashing, not if it's telling the truth to get to telling little truths about them to get to the big truth. But I also think that, I mean, if Chris has said himself that this happened this way and he wanted to get it out and make it clear that, she didn't do it and he's giving the girl's last words, I think it's kind of effed up to go back out and try to, bring that back up because it's obviously coming from an agenda. I mean, and that's why I always bring that up, but he's telling us about their last moments, about their last words. So, I mean, I think that that's what pisses me off, I guess. But other than that, yeah, I love hearing different theories. I personally do not think that Chris planned it alone. I don't think it was his idea. I think he carried it out. But I do not think that he planned it out by himself. I think it was put in his head. And he thought, I don't think a lot goes on up there that he ever does. And I think he kind of lives in fantasy land. I think that someone else suggested it and gave him the ideas, which is why he was Googling things. And then he started planning it. And I do think there were accessories to it. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. I mean, Shanann told him how to do everything. I feel like but the whole Oxy thing too, it's just, I don't know. I mean, he had to look up when to say I love you or what does it feel like to say I love you. I just feel like he's a yes man. He does what he's told. I don't know. And then the whole poisoning thing, that's a woman thing. I don't know. I just can't get past that's a woman thing. And yeah, men do it, but I don't know.
I just don't think that he did. I think that we talked about this at the beginning of the live, but I don't think that was his first attempt either. I just think he failed at the other ones. Something went wrong. And I think that was at least attempt 3 is my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I don't think the kids were part of the plan originally.
Neither.
I think he wanted to get rid of her, not cause her to miscarry. I think he wanted her dead. And I think that he wanted to do it in North Carolina because then he could just use the excuse of like, oh, the kids can't come back with me. I've got to take care of the house now. I've got to take care of all my stuff at work. They're going to have to stay here with you. And but then something happened in North Carolina where it didn't work. And the kids were, multiple times we've heard that, the kids were just like Shanann. And then he says in the February confession that maybe they felt whatever the darkness was like inside of him. Maybe they knew it was there. So they weren't acting the same around him. And so I think at that point he was like, you guys got to go too. I know that sounds so terrible to say it like that, but I think that's what he was thinking. It was like, they've all got to go. If I'm going to be with NK, they've all got to go.
Yeah.
And I think that's when
sometimes
the plan happened.
I don't know. Sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes I wonder because I think she showed up there. That's one thing I've always felt. I feel like she showed up there in a rage. I feel like she thought he was lying about the whole plane being postponed. Running late. And I go back and forth where I wonder if she shows up and Bella woke up and seen her. And then it just threw everything in a chaos. And then that's when it was like, okay, the girls need to go. I don't know. I go back and forth with it. I don't know. I just feel, I don't think they were part of the plan, but then he says that he fantasized about getting rid of his family. So right. I don't know.
And like, what kind of person goes and makes up that? So if the entire Wisconsin thing is a lie, what kind of person makes up that story?
Yeah.
What kind of person writes those down for the letters that he sent Cato? Like, I'm sorry, even if you want to believe that he's innocent of killing the kids, he's a sick fuck. Right. Like, you don't make that kind of stuff up. You just don't.
So what do you guys think about, I know I'm going off topic, but I want to talk about this. What do you guys think about, and it's a sensitive subject, I do apologize, but Cece's autopsy? I can't get past, it's just something there. I don't understand it. And I watched the live you guys did with Mark, I think his name was, and it's kind of like they just assume that's how she passed because Shanann passed this way and Bella passed this way, so I guess she passed this way, but there's really no evidence leading in either direction. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? That's something I
100% agree. I think I said it on that live too. It makes no sense to me. Cece's autopsies never made sense to me when it comes to what her cause of death is, because it was like, well, since Bella died this way, this is how Cece died. And it's like, no, that's not necessarily true. A lot of factors that could go into that, and was she gone longer? That's a really big question for me,
Me too.
My personal thing is I think that Cece died at the house. I do. I think that Shanann and Cece died at the house.
Why do you think the dogs didn't alert then?
Well, we have a fantastic expert.
Oh, did you?
In that area. Yeah. So we've had the honor of having her on and like kind of walking us through some things, and being able to tell her story, I would never do it justice because she's just way more educated than I would ever be in that area. But, the consensus that I walk away with is there was a lot of things that happened and went wrong. One, the dog handlers didn't handle their dogs the way that you technically should have. They were volunteers too. So, a lot of them are volunteers anyway. But the fact that he was in the house and did a lot of cleaning and changed a lot of things, even if it's not just laundry, and maybe he changed the bedding and it's totally different bedding, there are things that would cause the dogs to not have heart alerts if the areas were where it were moved, like if the body was in a specific area and whatever it was in or on is moved, and then there wasn't enough time that the body was left in the house that it would leave anything there. And she may be in chat, so she may be able to tell me, Teresa, you're telling the story all wrong. Yeah, there she is. Okay, she is in chat. Perfect.
I did.
But when I screw it all up, researcher, you can just be like, no, that's not how it goes. But there was a lot of valid points that that dog handlers didn't, do. That was pretty much the gist of it. The dog handlers didn't handle dogs the way that they're trained to, and who knows what was changed, moved, removed, where the bodies were, and we don't know how long the bodies were there, and that it can take a little while for them to get it. I know, like Amber's like dead on like this. It's immediate. It's immediate. It's immediate. Researcher will say that not always is it.
Yeah,
because
that's
there's a lot of other factors that come into where was the body, what was cleaned, what was changed, how long was it there.
That's exactly what I was reading too, what you're saying, Teresa. That's why I think too, I think Cece died at the house, and I think Shanann did too. Even though the dogs didn't alert, what I've been reading, exactly what you said is what I've been reading. And then I think they did, even though they didn't alert, I think they did pass at the house. But then I'm like, wow, I don't know, but I don't know.
I think Cece did but I don't know about Shanann and Bella.
I don't think Bella did. I don't
think Bella did either.
I think Bella died passed, at survey. I do.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a really crazy story to make up if she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And totally agree with you about the autopsies. I don't think that's necessarily how she died. And there were no fibers. I think there's other ways to asphyxiate. Lots of other ways.
Do you think, is it possible for Chris to, how he says they died twice? That they didn't die twice, but he tried to do it twice. So once at the house, and then when you listen to the prison interview, he slips up and says they woke up again. So I think he did attempt 2 times because of that. So I think that is true with him. So he says in Cato's letter that he put a pillow over the face, and that's why it was smothering. When he talks to them in prison, he says that he put the blue Yankee blanket over Cece and he strangled her. So we know the Yankee blanket's at the house. So is it possible that he used her blanket to put over her face, but she didn't originally pass? I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying or no?
I do. And I personally, and I know that I think that he did. I think that that's a huge clue, actually. And
because the blanket in the room, it's just not with her, and she had that blanket with her. We know she slept with it every night. She carried it with her everywhere. That was her favorite blanket. But on the 13th, it's in the room, in the corner. So I don't know.
The blanket's always been a point of controversy because there's 2 blankets.
Yeah.
There's the Steelers blanket and there's the Yankees blanket. And Cece's blanket doesn't have a tag, and the Steelers blanket does have a tag.
It does.
And obviously it's pixelated when you try to zoom in like super, like, close to it. But the one that's on that little fold out chair has a tag.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can't really tell if it's blue or black because of the coloring. So is that the Steelers blanket?
Are you talking the one on the little mini sofa? Is that what you're talking about? The one on the little sofa?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that looks more like a Yankee blanket. I don't know. But you said there's a tag on it?
Yeah, I'm like I said, it looks like a tag, but when you zoom in on anything, 500 times,
yeah,
it's gonna distort it.
I would never testify under oath that that's a tag. I'll just tell you that.
Teresa, is that a tag?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, sir. I don't know.
Because see, this is why I love this panel, but I think you bring up a great point, and your mind works a lot like mine does. I do think that, think of ways that he could have, I guess in theory it could be that, but there were no fibers, or he could have given them something and not given them enough. I don't know.
That's something else that Vanessa, I messaged you about. Did he give Cece something? And that's something that I'm really been looking into, and I don't know. I'm just wondering if he gave her something and that's how she ended up passing.
That's what my mind is. That's where my mind is right now. What do you think, Kelly?
I think that it's absolutely possible that the girls were given something and that Bella woke up, but not Cece. I've also theorized that possibly Chris tried to call off the whole thing, and people showed up in his house and he was with Shanann talking whatever in their bed, and he saw somebody else on the monitor over the girls' beds. I mean, that's one of my very first thoughts when I got into the case, was that he saw someone else on the monitor doing something to his girls, or had done something to Bella and then saw them on Cece. And maybe that was someone else giving Cece something. I don't know if I believe that so much now, but I'm just thinking out loud. That was one of my thoughts. But yes, the fact that Cece's autopsy says that her cause of death was likely, but then Bella's does not have the word likely, is a huge issue for me.
Right,
and
I agree.
Yeah, the way Chris talks about Bella versus Cece in prison, there's just a lot.
He doesn't talk about Cece.
No.
Cece's like irrelevant at that point, because I don't think she's part of the story anymore.
Agreed.
But NK kind of talks about Cece, and she doesn't really talk about Bella.
Yeah,
so that's kind of weird too. Mm-hmm.
Point.
And the coworker McCoy talks about Bella. He says that my kids have hung out with Bella and Shanann, or I knew Bella and Shanann, something like that. But he specifically says Bella and Shanann, but not Cece. So I don't know. It's just interesting how all these people pick and choose what names they want to say and don't want to say.
That is interesting. Yeah. Why nobody talks about all of them as a whole, and nobody talks about them together. Yep. So I do. I know there's a shadow. I don't know what the shadow is, but there's a shadow there. We all assume that it's one of the girls. But I know, like, everybody's like, well, it's been edited by YouTubers and stuff. The copy I look at is straight from Discovery. There is a shadow there. So if it's edited, it's edited by law enforcement or whoever was sending it out. But there is a shadow. I don't know what the shadow is. Do you guys believe it's Bella?
I think it's Bella. I don't think it's the dog. I mean, people are trying to say it's the dog. I don't think so. I think it's Bella. I personally think it's Bella. I don't know about you, Kelly. What do you think?
I mean, if I were on a jury and under, rules of a jury, I couldn't say either way. But as myself, the more I look at it, I do think it was one of the girls. So just the entire motion and the way Chris responds to it in prison, yeah, I think it was Bella, probably.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I've gone back and forth. I think it was. I don't know. There's times I've thought they both were gone. I absolutely think Cece was.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that. I couldn't swear on it, but I do think it's probably her.
And I just think it's just odd that Cece wouldn't be screaming or crying. I mean, we see her throwing tantrums in videos, but her mom has been passed and she's just quiet. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. I don't know.
But I see that Bella would be there. And plus, it's not super early for them because they were early risers, but it is super early. It's kind of a scary situation. Nobody really knows what's going on. I don't necessarily know how rambunctious either one would be, but I don't think Bella's going to be rambunctious at all. And I personally think that he put Shanann and Cece in the back seat and that Bella rode in the front.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I hope it's okay to say, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Shanann left in the truck.
Do you think that there's the red car that's off to the side, or do you think that the tire marks in the back are pretty legit? Like there's something to that?
I don't know.
I think the tire marks in the back for me.
You think through the back, Crazy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think through the side. I think they knew already about the cameras. I just don't think they would. And Chris, how many times does Chris let everybody know there's no cameras in the back? There's no cameras in the back. I just think he's saying that because it's something stuck in his head. I think those tires marks in the back mean something. I don't know. That's my opinion, though. I think Shanann went out to the back. Yeah, I do.
I honestly thought it was possible Shanann left alive. You guys are probably going to think I'm crazy, but alive through the front door into a car that Chris was blocking with his truck. There's that Target bag on the front porch.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't understand that bag either because it wasn't there when Shanann got home, but it was there when NA got there.
Kelly, I was thinking the same thing, and I wanted to talk about it, but I'm like, people are gonna think, oh my God, you're analyzing it. But I'm like, where did that Target bag come from? Where did it come from?
We know he went to Target and got the present for the birthday party on Sunday, but it's
Go
ahead.
When Shanann gets home, it's not there. But then in the morning of, when they come home, it's there. So unless NA left her, no, NA ain't gonna bring a Target bag and leave it on the porch. So it's just
it's left there in the basement where she was, right? Sorry, bad joke.
Another thing.
Chris was working out.
Hanging with Chris. Chris tells Tammy in August, he tells her he went to Target Friday, and then he says he went there again on Sunday. And she doesn't call him on it. Because I'm kind of working on that where Chris is explaining what he did on Friday. And he talks about Friday, he went to get his glasses. They had a crack fixed. He did the King Supers checklist. And then he went to Target. And then on Sunday, he says he went to Target again. And she doesn't say, wait, you went to Target Friday and Sunday? She doesn't call him on it.
Wonder why.
Yes.
And there's a Target receipt in the office that you
Wait, you're breaking up, Kelly. I didn't hear.
Oh, sorry. Chris told Tammy he went to Target. Doesn't call him out. Am I buffering?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. That's a great point.
I know what you're saying too.
It's a great point. For those of you who can't, if she's buffering, he says on Friday that he goes to Target. He says he runs a bunch of errands, and then he says he goes to Target. He names things that he did on Sunday, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. On Friday, and no one says anything to him about it. But he says, but he's just again trying to fill time, and he's lying. But there's those like little things like that drive me crazy. Like she's CDT is mentioning is he does say that twice. He says his errands on Friday and on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I do think that Target bag is interesting.
I also think he dug that the grave beforehand. I do.
I think he has a really bad habit of changing his stories to being like the emotional conversation really irks me because everything he says happened in this emotional conversation we know happened at other times because you can see it in the text messages, you can see it in her text messages with her friends.
Yeah.
And it's like he puts it all like it happened that morning, and I'm like, not to say that it couldn't have all taken place again because it's emotional and whatever. But I don't think so. I think he's just like, these are the type of things that we've talked about, so I'm going to go ahead and use them again.
So do you think, what about he keeps talking about her crying, the mascara. Do you think that's from that
Friday.
night?
I think it's from Thursday going into Friday.
Oh,
she went to bed crying.
There's too many people. You were for a second. Now you're good.
Oh. So was it ever confirmed that was her makeup on that pillowcase? Confirmed. I know they thought it was, but was it ever confirmed? Because it doesn't look like makeup to me. I don't know about you guys, your ladies. I mean, I've fallen asleep with makeup on plenty of times, and I've never gotten makeup like that. I don't know. I don't know. I just wonder. I don't think that's makeup.
What do you think it is?
I think she was crying.
I don't know. She would have to be crying. But it just looks more brown than if she was crying and it was mascara. Wouldn't it be more black?
Yeah.
It's like foundation and mascara together.
Well, there's also that person. There's some people that have said that she didn't have any makeup on when she came home. So there's that. That's what I think it's.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So I think it's old from before, if it is that. But I don't think that. I don't think it's from that night.
Yeah, because I did a test too. You guys are gonna laugh at me. I did a test. I had my boyfriend put the pillow over my face with a lot of makeup on. And I was like trying to see how much makeup I got on there. And I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
I wear makeup, but then
No.
I put Visine in my eyes to make my eyes water, and we did it, and then we got the makeup out, but not the way it looked on there. Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I think she was probably crying that night. She was. I always say, like, I feel like she was just emotionally broken. There wasn't. That's the thing. I don't think there was enough fight in her to fight and do anything. She just was like emotionally broken. Just like, please, just Chris, just do anything. I just want to be with you. I want our family. Like, he was the one detached. So it's hard for me to ever wrap my mind around that she did anything, because she wasn't detached. And it takes a lot of that for these women that have killed to do it. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Nicole Atkinson said too in her interview, I read it, said that Shanann told her on the way home that she just wanted to hug Chris, that she hadn't hugged him in so long. And to me, that just, if that's what she said on the way home, she just missed her husband. She missed him. She didn't want to fight with him, even though she found the transaction. They're trying to make it seem like she flipped out over the transaction. Maybe at first she questioned it, but I think in reality, she just missed Chris. And I think she just realized all her faults, and she realized, hey, I got some changing to do. And as a woman, that takes a lot to say, because there's some women that be like, I ain't changing shit. I'm going to be the way I am. You know what I mean? But she realized it. Huh?
That's me. Like, you go.
Not change. Yeah. Well, and I think that plays a lot into just like the particular woman or even just person's personality. Because if that was my husband, I would have came into wherever he was and flipped my shit on him. I would not have wanted to hug him. I would not have wanted to be lovey. And some women, maybe Shanann did want to hug him. I would have gone in there and fought him. I mean, I would have been pissed.
I think Shanann like Teresa said, though, I think she was exhausted.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that she was already prepared to go in there to be nice and play nice and do what she had to do. And she wouldn't have been texting all these niceties if her plan was to go in there. Like, everybody's like, oh, you could see she was walking in. She was heated. And I'm like, dude, she was walking in because she like didn't want to be outside at 2 a.m.
Yeah, she's walking up.
Big old luggage bag. Yeah, no, I agree. I think she was exhausted. I think she was tired. I think she was emotionally done. And if you've ever been in a relationship where you think you're done and you're like talking all this shit about them, like, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm done. I hate you, blah, blah, blah. But then the next day you're like, oh, I love you. I want to make it work. We have kids. I think Shanann was at that point. She was at that point. I don't think she
was pregnant.
Yeah. And I don't think she was coming home to fight or do anything that people are putting out there. There's just, I don't see it. I don't know. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I just don't see it.
Dave G, the CBI wanted to get the makeup bag back. Yeah, you know what? We were talking about that recently. They actually wanted the whole, if I remember correctly from Discovery, they made them fly the whole suitcase from North Carolina, which I find really interesting that they wanted them to fly it back. I don't know if it was just the makeup they wanted or if they wanted something else, but the fact that they had him fly it back means it was pretty important for something, I think.
Agree.
Well, I think that they didn't just want a makeup bag back. They wanted the whole suitcase.
Yes.
So they put in there because they wanted to match the makeup, but I still think there's more to it. They wanted that whole suitcase.
Yeah, why would they ask for the whole suitcase?
Yep.
Which is weird though, because Sandy actually, she called, she called pretty quickly. I'm going to say like the 15th, 16th, maybe 17th. She called. There's a note in Discovery that says she called and wanted the luggage upstairs searched because nobody had looked in it. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
And I'm like, why didn't they look in it? That point, when she called, they'd already released the scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That
What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about them releasing the scene at midnight when they found Shanann's body?
That's insane. I don't know. The way this case is, everything is just so fast. Everything. I don't know. It's like they just wanted to hurry up and get it closed, I feel like. I don't know. I just don't think they did a good, thorough investigation. That's my opinion. And I know I get slack when I say that in my videos and stuff, but I don't. I really don't. And they say, well, if the DA thought anybody else was involved, you think they would let them go? And I'm like, obviously, yeah, I do. And they are. They're walking around right now.
Yeah.
Am I echoing you guys?
You know how many people that have been suspects in murder cases that they've had on their radar that haven't been arrested for 10, 15, 20 years?
Yep.
Let's talk about the little girl that was found in Colorado. What was her name again? Vanessa?
Jessica?
The one that was found at the oil site. Yeah.
Oh, no.
The one that was found at the oil site. Not that long ago.
Jonelle.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonelle.
Matthews.
They knew who killed her many, 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 many years ago.
They didn't have enough proof?
They didn't have enough evidence to get him. But they got him. But it doesn't they knew the whole time. Yeah. So I'm just thinking like that people are like, well, they would have arrested him by now. Oh, okay. Like what? No, they would not necessarily. Sometimes it takes a long time to, especially as a conspirator. If you're not the one who physically does it and you don't have your physical evidence there, conspiracy is a lot harder. And these guys don't want to go to court and lose.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that there's still a chance. I think there's a chance forever, because I think that if anything was to ever come forward that somebody did conspire and there wasn't ever proof of it, maybe they just don't have the proof yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. Just we were talking earlier. But,
what I miss?
Nothing. I'm just laughing. my Jameson is kicking in.
Thank
God for you. I'm just like, did you just slur or did you say that normal? Like concentrating on my word. So I'm glad it's only one.
That's why you should be in peace. I told you.
I know. Well, you should come next week. This is the part where she's like, oh, my phone's dying, you guys. My phone's all of a sudden at 2%.
When you guys get too out of hand, my phone will start dying. Watch.
Yeah. Yes.
This is why I'm the sober one.
I know. We always need one.
Sober liver. So I had something to say and it just flew right out. I don't remember what it was.
Sorry, guys.
No. It was,
is it possible that there's more arrests, but Chris will never get out of prison? In my opinion, I believe it's possible, absolutely possible. So we were talking about this last week too. Discovery, people need to understand what the discovery document actually is. The discovery document is not where they put all the evidence that they have. All the evidence that they have is what goes to trial, basically. It goes through all the evidence process with the judge to see what's admissible and what isn't, and so on and so forth. But the discovery is not that. The discovery is just to show that they had enough evidence at the time to charge him with the charges that they actually put on that piece of paper. And the judge just goes, okay. And then they have their preliminary hearing to prove everything. Chris waives his preliminary hearing. So when they say we have 92% of discovery, that's just the original basic prosecution document that they put together and then redacted. There is a ton of evidence that you would not have seen in a discovery document. And if you go back and look at cases that have gone to trial and you look at what's in their discovery documents versus the evidence that is actually taken to trial, it's not all going to be in discovery.
Yeah.
So just because it's missing from that piece of paper does not mean they don't have it. So I just want to make that very clear. People need to know that's just very basic beginning. This guy pled guilty, right? I mean, he's saying that he was talking plea deal in September.
Yeah.
That? He was close it up. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of, they don't have all of that, but that doesn't mean, and when Vanessa and Dr. B went to Frederick, they literally said the funding stops for Chris because the case is closed. If there are other suspects, the funding goes there. It doesn't mean that they're looking for more information on Chris. It would go to a different case. Mm-hmm. So yes, Chris's case is closed. Will we know if there's a case that's open? I don't know.
Right.
So then what's all this talk about Cato saying that something else is being invested, there's other stuff being looked into? Do you guys know, since you had her on your channel? Just mute me.
I'm like, oh, we need a refill, Teresa.
I haven't even finished one Dr. Pepper yet. This is ridiculous. I gotta stop talking and I gotta start drinking more.
I mean, poor Teresa. God bless you. I mean, you really should. I think CDT is. You're the only one with Dr. Pepper. No, you're not really. Are you out?
Mine's gone.
No.
I didn't have much.
No.
I wish I had more.
I wish I would have brought more.
Yeah. I got more.
No, but what do you guys think about that? Because that's something I was confused about when I heard her talking about it. Do you guys know, or can you explain it a little bit better?
I don't know.
For me? Or yeah, because I wasn't, because she's saying she doesn't. NK's not involved, but then she thinks she might have been involved. I don't know. I'm just so confused by it.
Cato's an interesting topic. I don't know what this woman knows and what she doesn't know. She says she contacted the FBI and they told her there's an open investigation. I think that's really, you guys are ridiculous.
Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if they would tell her that, but maybe they would.
I know, right? Who would tell her that? That's what I'm just wondering.
Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe they're like, okay, we'll look into it. And then she's like, okay, that means the case is open. They're looking at it. Like, who knows what they said, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. There are some things that have changed, you know, from one video to another video. So maybe she's
I noticed that too. That's one thing I noticed.
Getting more information as time goes on.
Yeah, I don't know what I think.
I told you guys, you hit the 2 hour mark and things start to get funny around here.
That's a wonderful yet complicated question.
People are like, damn, I come over here to see them and look at this.
They're like, what? I
do need a drink. Thank you. Yeah.
I think anything's possible, right? I think anything's possible. But I don't think that said that anything's possible. Do I think that they would tell us? No.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So that's...
But maybe they did.
But
we weren't on the phone. We can't say one way or the other.
Or maybe that, you know, she's got an inside source. I don't know. That's all I have. I don't know. I don't have anything else.
I don't know how else to say anything about that.
That's it.
And that's all I have to say about
I don't have anything to say about that. I don't know. So yeah. Oh, hey, Christine.
Okay, so I have a question. We were talking about a lot about what happened, who left the house alive and who didn't. Where do you guys think that Shanann was killed?
I think, see, that's what I said earlier. I go back and forth. I wonder if part of me thinks she did die at the house. But then I think about the dogs, but then like what you were saying about the research and stuff of it. I go more for she died at the house. And I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I do. And then I always wonder about that mat in the basement that the dog was going around. Mm-hmm. And the dog handler says if anything were to happen, that mat would be something to look into. But when they go back when you go back in the discovery and they went back to check where the dogs alerted, they never went back to that mat. So I don't know. That basement is all, I don't know. I think something happened in that basement for sure. For me, at least, in my opinion. I think Shanann did pass at the house, and I know the dogs didn't alert, but then I think maybe she was just passed out. I don't know. I'm like that. I don't know. What about you, Kelly?
I lean towards that she did not go in Chris's truck. She left the house alive and possibly forced, I think she was either out of it when she left or forced out. And then that's another thing I just saw in chat, the bedroom, the sheet. But she wasn't buried in the sheet. So I don't know. But anyway, I think it's possible that she was killed in a car, or at Serby. I don't know.
What do you guys think?
But I was just going to say, Vanessa, we've talked about this a lot. For the very longest, I believe she died in the bed. I believe that she was sleeping, like Frank said, and I think she was sleeping like off to her left, kind of like a lot of pregnant women do. They kind of, like put their belly off to the side and they kind of like straddle a pillow or whatever. It's, so she'd be kind of on her left, kind of on her stomach. And then I think that he said something that was caught in one of the interviews that's really bothered me, where he says, then he put her back, and he was telling his dad he put her back. And I was thinking, where did he have to put her back? Like, so then that means she was killed somewhere else and brought back to her bed. The reason the bed is important to me is because it's the fitted sheet that he used. And I know people are like, well, but if he had to have laid her on the bed and used the fitted sheet that was underneath her to wrap her up. Otherwise, he could have just grabbed a sheet and wrapped her up. Do you see what I mean? Like, you're not going to go untuck the fitted sheet to do that.
Right.
He would have just grabbed the top sheet. So he had to put her on the bed. So then it leads me to that. And if she passed in the basement, he's not going to bring her up to the bed. That would just be silly. He'd bring her up to the main floor.
Yeah.
So it leads me to the loft or Cece's room. And then he does it. He kills her there and then brings her back to the bed and wraps her up in the fitted sheet. I find it very weird when he says he put the bags on her, though.
Well, isn't that the same thing that another creator is saying, that it was in Cece's room where he did it, and then he took her back to her bed, and that's why the sheet is used.
Part of me that thinks that she saw Cece on the monitor, or the monitors were turned off, and so she went to go check on the kid because the monitors were off and she couldn't see him. And then he got her, and the reenactment that we all know now is in very, very close to what he would have done to Shanann, and Cece was already dead, but at the hands of Chris.
That would make sense too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like that's a lot of work. I mean, Shanann was 148 pounds. If he killed her somewhere else, why is he going to drag her and put her back on the master bed? I mean, why? I don't understand that.
I've always felt like, and I know this is crazy, but I've always felt that she came home, she took her sandals off, she put her bag down, she went upstairs, and I think took her watch off, got situated for bed. Chris messed with the system where we wouldn't be able to tell if she's walking around anymore, the sensors and all that.
Yeah.
She comes downstairs looking for Chris. Chris isn't upstairs, and I feel like there was other people there. I don't know. I feel like other people were there and an argument happened, and he says she couldn't fight back. Why couldn't she fight back? And I know I've heard people say a lot of different theories when they themselves have been choked out, but
I don't think she was physically able to. I think the way she was laying on her side and he was straddling her, her one arm is stuck underneath her and the other arm is stuck under him.
And you know what else too? He brings up a Bible verse, I think, and it's about something. There was more. I don't know the exact words, but it's where she was praying for us, praying for them.
Yes.
Them. Who's them? Why? There's so many. Yeah, and there's so many Bible verses that you could have came up for one person, but you chose the one where there's more than one person there. And the way he said it, that she was praying for, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. That's something that's just always, I don't know. I think there was other people there. I do.
Well, he always has that little weird we, they.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Unless he thinks of himself as with personalities, I don't know.
Maybe he refers to himself as Chris Watts.
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I need to get Denise's question. Okay. She says, I'd like to know what his defense team found in the house with all those markers they have marked. I don't know why I'm the one reading these, Teresa. I'm like, I would like to know what his defense team found. You guys think?
Oh, where's the drinks, guys? Where's the drinks? CDT actually did a video on this too, not that long ago. But it's interesting because on the defenses, when the body cams are there with the defense team, you can see all these markers that lead up to the back door. And that's interesting to me. And the Mama Bear even just put in the comments, like, one thing that he does mention is that he put her by the back door. And was that because he planned on taking her out the back because it would be easier to load her? Was there something else out there? I don't know. And did he drive around the back? No, because we would have seen that on his GPS if he stopped back there. So it wasn't him that did it. So my opinion, I'm here, and I've asked Vanessa for I don't know how long to help me with this, but she's got her documentary on Taylor that's like all consuming at this moment. There is some, in my opinion, if you follow the paper trail, there is evidence that shows that the defense team found touch DNA in the house that proved Chris's guilt. Ooh. And when they took it to Chris and said, holy shit, and then he told them everything that happened, they filed the HIPAA. And the reason that the HIPAA is filed the way that it is because they don't want the prosecution to know about it. So it can't be the autopsies because the prosecution has the autopsies. It has to do with HIPAA. It would have to do with himself. And the one case that they cite in the motion has to do with a psychologist that actually knows the information versus the attorney that knows the information about the defendant. So in this case, you have, I'm not going to say his name right, but the touch DNA super expert that the public defenders had for some reason were in the house. That guy is famous for touch DNA. He's won many cases about touch DNA, and they wanted him to be the one that was at the autopsies to find out about the touch DNA that was on the necks, remember? So in my opinion, they found touch DNA at the house that proved that Chris was guilty, and they want the motion to make sure that, because they didn't want to have to turn that over, because if the lawyers found it, they'd have to turn it over. But because the doctor found it, the touch DNA guy, they did not have to turn it over. And that's what that motion was. And that's why they filed ex parte to get in without the prosecution. That's my theory.
Interesting.
Are we too many drinks in for this conversation?
No, not at all. I hear you.
Alicia,
yeah, I'm good.
I'm letting it sink in.
Alicia, I don't think
you have to kind of study touch DNA too to understand all the things that would happen. It would show, it could be on a lot of things, and it could have to do with that his touch DNA is on top of something that would show that they were dead here, there, whatever. And I don't know where it would be at. I assume it would have to do with the basement or something leading to that back door, because that's where we see all these evidence markers that they're doing. And it's funny because KK actually put up a video right after CDT's video, talking about that the lady on the couch actually states, like, where did they take all the touch DNA from? Like, what did they take? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know. And I think that she was asking because she wanted to know where they had been looking, not because she was trying to figure out what they looked at. I think she wanted him to tell her, oh, they were looking at the beds, or they were looking at the door handle, or they were looking at the totes in the basement, or they were looking here. Yeah. And he was like, I don't have a clue, lady. Like, all I know is Dexter. Yeah. But I think she was trying to trick him into telling her. I don't think it was like because she didn't find anything. I think she wanted to know.
No, I agree. My issue with all that is just how soon it was after the murders, and they didn't have anything back really on NK to compare anything in the house to yet. And that's what really bothers me. I mean, did they even look for NK's evidence in places where she claimed she didn't go into? She claimed that upstairs, the only room she went into was the playroom and saw the girls' books, and it was super cute. Your girls have books. So if her DNA, whatever, was in Bella, Cece's, or the master, that would be a red flag. She didn't claim to put herself in any of those rooms. And it just all just seems so premature, too soon. I don't know. But I'm with you. It's odd with the markers and all.
The markers are weird.
Mm-hmm. One more thing real quick. If Shanann, and that like Mama Bear was saying with him saying I laid her by the back door, in my opinion, it would be very hard for him, even with help, to bring her out the back because you'd have to go down those stairs. That's why I think if she went out the back, in my opinion, she was probably able to walk, or I just feel that's a very open area to carry out a completely, someone who's deceased.
True.
But I don't know. I just don't think she went in the truck really either. So I don't know.
Yeah, the bag of clothes is interesting. People are asking about the bag of clothes and the bag in the truck, in the one in the house and the one in the trunk. I think the one in the house had something in it. I don't know what it was, but it definitely has something in it because he freaked out when he went near it.
Yes.
Yeah. He did his old.
So a lot of people are talking about the touch DNA, so I just want to touch on that touch on it.
I picked that
up. So the reason I'm talking about the HIPAA is because when they filed the ex parte hearing regarding the HIPAA, the case that they cited in there had to do with a doctor who knew the information about the defendant that the lawyer technically didn't know. And so they didn't want it brought into trial because it was the doctor's information. Even though the doctor was on the defense team, they didn't want, that's the case. So since they referenced that case, you have to use case law to be able to present something like that. Otherwise it's, you're creating case law, and then those cases are even huger, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. Maybe I have been drinking. So the reason that I tie the HIPAA in with a doctor is because in their motion, they are using a case regarding a doctor. Does that make sense? The only other thing I can think of when it would come to that would be that he did have some type of psych eval and they didn't want that doctor. Now, the judge is the one who ultimately would get to decide whether it was, they can file the motion. Just because they file the motion doesn't mean that the judge was going to go with it or not go with it. But there's a reason that they didn't want the prosecution in there. And it's been speculated so much that it had to do with the autopsies. But if it had to do with the autopsies, the prosecution would have already had that. So why did they care if the prosecution was in there? Mm-hmm. So that's why I just ruled that out. So anything that the prosecution could have, prosecution can get all the medical records for everybody. So they talk about the sealed medical records of the children. They would have already requested that. In the notes, they talk about the pharmacy. They already requested all the pharmacy records. So the prosecution already had that. So when you're talking about HIPAA, what else would it be?
Yeah, I agree.
I think we never found Shanann's shirt. I think that could be in the bag.
And her leggings either. Neither.
They have her leggings.
They did.
They do?
Well, they said black leggings.
They only call it leggings. Yeah, they only said, they call it it's under the Maurice's sweatshirt when they're like lumped together for some reason instead of being two different pieces of evidence.
Okay.
Yeah, it says black leggings. Yeah.
They're not black leggings. I mean, they are kind of, but they're actually like a
no, they're not.
Yellow.
Yeah.
They have like the kind of, I don't know, not
print.
stars, but
yeah,
something like that.
They're LuLaRoe leggings, and ironically, they're we used to call them the Dobby leggings because they look like the face of Dobby from Harry Potter.
Mm.
You ever see them up close, you can kind of see that. So they were always called the Harry Potter leggings. That's what we always referred to them as in LuLaRoe time.
Yes.
So they have those, but not the shirt.
Not the shirt.
Not the shirt.
That's very weird.
I think it's interesting too how they asked Chris, "Did you change her?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were wondering about it too.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's always been a ton of speculation because she had her bra on. So did she change?
Yeah.
But then she was pregnant. Why was she sleeping in a G-string? Yeah, there's all these different, like,
Yeah.
everybody's got like their own like mini theories about that. And I'm like,
What's wrong
I
with
don't
being pregnant in a G-string?
I hope nothing, because I was for all three of mine. And then,
I was
I know it's a little bit too much
granny
TMI right
panties.
there, but
I mean, I mean, I don't
But
know. I
also,
think just the
anybody
bra is weird.
I don't think the bra was weird either, because when you've got like you would know you got big tatas when you're
I
like
know,
when you're pregnant, they don't feel good, man. Like you want some support, and you need to know that you lay on your side, and all of a sudden your back's hurting, everything's hurting. It's like I don't know. I mean, pregnant's not fun all the time, you know. So I'm just saying,
That's
like,
my everyday life. But anyways,
what?
nothing. So yeah. Yeah, the struggle is real. Alicia,
No, I'm not pregnant. I don't drink anymore. I think I drank so much in my 20s, and that my body's just like, all right, that's enough. Like, knock it off.
Done.
She's in her car. She can't. She's in her car.
Why do you say that? Like, I can. It's like,
Are you
I'm not
cold, Teresa? Is it cold in your car?
I'm actually not that cold. I don't even have my sweatshirt on yet. And for anybody who wants to go, why is this chick in her car? Like, let me tell you.
Oh my God, that
There's
question.
not a free spot in my house that you would not be disturbed by little people who are chit-chatty, and they don't need to hear any of this type of conversation. So I don't want to be in the next room either. You know, I don't. They're old enough where they know what this is about, and I don't want them to know more.
Yeah.
So here I am in my she shed, if you will.
I love it.
She shed.
I love it.
My she shed.
Her mobile she shed.
Drive it to Taco Bell.
Mark's on here. He's all good to know. Dude, Mark's on here. Oh my God.
No, Mark is on. He's like, good to know. What are
Good
you
to know. Oops.
Oh God, this is the hardest of life. Jameson.
Jameson is what she's drinking.
Jameson.
Yeah, I love it. I can't. We get that. Do we get that on every video? We get that on every video. Why is Teresa in her car? Like it bothers their soul. It's like, why do you need to comment that? She just.
Here's the thing: is I want you guys to know I have a really nice car, so I'm not like uncomfortable by any means. Like it's nice. It's roomy. You know, I don't live in my car. I have a very beautiful house. It's just very occupied.
Fun. It's like a thing that we do. I'm used to it. I think it's a great idea.
Freaking Vanessa says in a comment on one of the lives, she's like, I don't care if she's in a gas station bathroom as long as she shows up. I'm like, at a gas station? Like somebody send me a dime or something. Like somebody hook me up with like, you know, hotel. I don't know, man. Don't make me go live in a gas station bathroom. It's gross.
Mark says TMI. Sorry. You should be used to it by now. Yeah, no, I love it, but there's always one person on every video. I'm like, why don't just watch the video? Don't worry about where she's sitting.
Yeah, listen.
It's a very, very big deal. I try to answer every time it comes up, though. I do try to answer and be like, listen, like you want some quiet time? This is me. This is all I get. My life is filled with the rest.
They're thanking you for clarifying you don't live in your car.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm good. I don't live in my car. I have a very nice house.
And we don't care where she sits.
As long as she's on here.
Exactly. Yeah, so you aren't a mom. Exactly.
I can tell you right now, if the only option is to go live from the gas station bathroom, I won't be on.
I say do it.
I know you would. I'm not going. All right, back on topic here.
What were we talking about?
So Haley's asking, what about the fridge in the basement? What do you guys think of the fridge temperature pick?
It's odd. But we don't know for sure which fridge it was.
But it was in the basement, right? So
I don't think we know, was it the basement or upstairs? Like, I haven't seen, maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen it proven which fridge it was.
And I can't remember right now, so.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, there's two fridges in the two fridges in the basement. I mean, I'm like, is that even a word? I don't even know if words are words anymore. Like, this is a problem.
We've been going a while.
Yeah, there's two.
And it does say he takes a photo of the basement fridge, but we just don't know which basement fridge it is.
But I think that's interesting. Oh, sorry, go.
No, I was just saying, he says later that where did it come from that he was taking the picture to send it to Frank? Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
I never heard that one.
Yeah, supposedly something was wrong with the fridge temp, and so he was taking the pic to send it to Frank.
But I just thought it was interesting that the cooler was missing. Oh my God, my hair.
Yeah.
That the cooler was, so then what was it that was in the fridge he needed? And the cooler was missing.
CDT has a good video about that. About the totes and the cooler. Is that the same video? I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I think it's the same video. And that's the only way I go to that anything happened like nefarious in the basement is because of that video. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. She's got some good points there.
Yeah. I just think the cooler being gone is kind of interesting, and it's never recovered either. So I don't know. Wait, KK claims it was sent to Frank.
Oh, yeah, never mind then.
Well then.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Yeah.
But you know how many like little things that are out there that are they even relevant? Like, if he took pictures of the chicken, I've wondered this about this picture in particular. If he took pictures of the chicken and he took pictures of the temperature, was he trying to figure out if the chicken was bad because the temperature was off in the fridge?
I don't think
it's a big deal. Was he looking to put a body in there and needed to know the temperature?
I don't think the picture of the chicken was a big deal. I mean, how many of us have taken pictures of our food? I don't know. Maybe he sent it. I don't know. And 4 pieces, he probably had 2. And I mean, were there 2 in the fridge? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the chicken was a big deal. The refrigerator temp is something, I think it's something. It's just, I don't know. That's kind of odd to me. But the chicken, I don't think so. Really, I don't.
It's the way he said that. I'm trying
I think for the basement question right there, I think, it would be hard if it was himself, but I think he had help. So, I mean, it wouldn't make sense, but I don't know. I just feel like an argument happened in that basement. Something happened in that basement, I feel like.
One thing I would like to know is if on the 13th or the 14th, they found carrots in the house or peeling, carrot remnants of the peels or whatever, because NK said he made chicken and carrots. And so were there carrots there on the 13th or the 14th? Because he obviously grilled chicken. And if she had chicken and carrots on her mind, it just makes me wonder if they possibly found them in the house.
Did you have chicken and carrots that night?
Right, exactly.
I want to know whose Starbucks cup that was. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. And then Unmasked, you might know this, but I looked up King Soopers, and I think I typed in, I can't remember, but there was a Starbucks attached to the King Soopers. Is that common?
Yep. All of them have it, pretty much.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point.
I wonder that too.
So you're thinking that maybe when he went there, he got him. I don't know. I did figure out the other day with, I was talking to somebody and I can't remember who it was, what they were. They were venti caramel macchiatos or whatever. So, because I was wondering, I do too. And I was wondering if they were the girls, but I doubt that they would drink.
I think my phone's dying.
It's not dying. It is totally fine.
It's just getting started, Teresa. It's just getting started.
God. My phone legit will end up dying then. If we're just getting started.
Baby. So Yeah.
I turn this off for a second.
Okay. She's like,
I'm still here.
Am I still here? Oh, she can still hear me.
I can still hear you.
I do that every time.
This is whenever I turn my camera off, then she like starts talking about me, and then I'm like, dude, I can still hear you. It's just my camera.
I'm like an infant playing like hide and go seek. Like the minute I can't see her, I'm like, okay. And then but I forget she can still hear everything I'm saying. Like she didn't disappear. She's still there. Yeah.
I think the Starbucks cup is the Thayer's.
Yeah.
Amanda has a Starbucks cup, but hers is a hot drink on the 14th during the body cam. She's got a Starbucks that she's, but like I said, it's hot. And then the one that's in the trash is a cold drink, but there's two. So obviously, but Nick is drinking like an energy drink. So I wondered if maybe she brought it for Chris. I don't know if Chris would drink that. I don't know.
And just because we don't necessarily see the I mean, it could have been in A's. Who knows? But it would have been nice to know for sure. I mean, they took it out and took a photo of it, so they obviously were interested.
But it was on top of the sheet, am I right?
I think so, and like under his breakfast or on top of his breakfast or something.
So it had to be from Tuesday. Speaking of trash, can we talk about the trash? The actual trash bins? Like
they got taken out
on Tuesday morning. The trash is picked up.
Yeah.
You have a family missing and the trash gets picked up? That is very curious to me. Why did they let that trash get picked up?
Yeah. And that's something we've talked about a lot on lives, is just kind of reading the suspect and reading who you're dealing with. Chris was saying yes to everything. He never said no. Why didn't they push a little harder to seize the house or not let him stay there, etc.? They just, I don't know. But I don't know all the protocol, but I think if Chris had okayed it, they obviously could have done whatever. If he signed away rights, whatever, they just didn't go for it. They didn't ask until Tuesday.
That's weird to me. The house doesn't seem to have been overly treated as a crime scene, in my opinion. You don't see the typical crime scene tape that's put up. You don't see the videos we see of every other case now of the CSI techs in and out of the house with their bags. You don't see any CSI stuff. I mean, they mention a few things in Discovery, like about the luminol, but they took the bedding, and here's another weird thing. They took the bedding and they put it in like big giant plastic trash bags, and you can't put DNA stuff in a plastic bag. It has to go into a So that's another weird thing for me. And then they released the scene. I know that they had been there. So, I mean, it's not like they didn't call it a crime scene technically until like 10 o'clock that night. And then they let it go at like midnight. But they had been there Tuesday with a consensual search, Wednesday with a consensual search. They had been looking at stuff.
Yeah.
It was never like, it's not a typical crime scene that you would think of.
Right. But that's a good point about the bags.
I need to click on that.
You guys all doing okay over there?
Yeah, I just accidentally no big deal. Sorry, Leslie.
Okay, C-Dub, are you following that case? Okay, because I'm following that case pretty close. That Orrin and Orson West that are missing from California City. It's only a couple hours from me too. But yeah, no, they immediately, those people had to go. Even if you think like other case, like Faye Sweatlick, I don't know if you guys remember her. They impounded the mom and stepdad's car like within an hour of that little girl being reported missing. And come to find out, they obviously had nothing to do with it, but the cars were taken immediately just in case. There's a lot of things that are different. I know every state's different, but
yeah, it just doesn't feel I mean, obviously, we're here over 2 years later. There's, thousands of people who watch these videos and participate in chatting about the case, and it's for a reason. They're not here because they think it was done correctly, in my opinion, for the most part,
I agree. I totally agree. And that's why people say that we obsess about it, but there's a reason for it because
yeah, we're not alone.
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've got to catch up with chat. And that's
Yeah,
going to
you're
take
fine.
because my reading is not on point.
Yeah. I just read Amanda B's comment. She said the detective touched what he thought was blood, and that's a good point. I think NA and her son noticed a little red spot on the stairs, and on body cam, he's like touching it all with his hands. What if it was blood,
Yeah, he said it was, what did he say? It was wax or something like that?
Yeah, it looked like wax. Where there's no candles. Then you think,
Yes.
it's a sacred, cult's candle. I don't know. Who knows?
Cult candles.
Yeah, I'm not in a cult, but maybe they use candles.
They're all carrying their candles down the stairs.
Right.
Oh my God.
Saying whatever their saying is.
Yeah, who knows what happened in there?
Hey, Maddie girl, wasn't I supposed to buy you something on that, Teresa? Didn't you want? You were going to research it. The little
you guys.
satanic Bible. What did you say?
Oh, somebody was going to buy me. Somebody was going to, yeah, she can still hear us, FYI.
Yeah.
Somebody was going to buy me the little devil book that went on Unjustified. And he talked about the devil Bible that was on NK's desk. Somebody was going to buy me one. But I never got one. Dang it.
I want one.
Okay, everyone's getting one. You get a
I think you owe like the entire Patreon like a Prosecco, though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I forgot about that bet. No, did I lose the bet or did I win?
I don't know. We don't even remember what the bet was, so we just said that we won.
I need to go back and check what I bet everyone. Was it a bottle? I can't afford that. I need to go back and see what I bet everybody last week because I already forgot.
And then, do we know if they ever considered Cervi a secondary crime scene? Like, do they? I mean, they don't have to tape it off because it's obviously very restricted as it is. So, I mean, I can understand that they wouldn't necessarily tape that off, but I don't know if it was ever actually considered a crime scene.
The way that the prosecutor and everyone made it sound was they were all gone when they got home, and that was just. But I don't know. I don't think that they. I don't know what all they really did at Cervi. And now it's gone. So there goes any reenactments or anything like that.
Oh, I would hope that they actually process. That's another thing you don't see necessarily in Discovery either, is all the physical evidence that would have or could have been found there. Some dirt is hard to tell if there's a lot of footprints or anything, but there's no footprints anywhere. There's no, the pink vomit. Is it vomit? Is it something else?
Yeah.
They're walking that scene and they walk it like in a square grid, and there's no report of that in Discovery. So they also say there's nothing there that's out of the ordinary, but in a brown field, a pink whatever is pretty out of the ordinary, in my opinion. So why isn't it noted? Do you think it's vomit?
See, okay, I made that video, and then afterwards, because I'm really weird. If I put stuff out there, I want it to be, if it's theory, I want people to know it's theory. If it's fact, I'll let you know it's fact. But I put that out there, and I'm like, this is the vomit at Cervi. But then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, first of all, it's very pink, which I think it could have been if, maybe Benadryl, NyQuil, something like that. But at the same time, it rained. And that footage was from Wednesday. So how did that vomit stay so pink and pronounced by Wednesday? And I have heard, people have told me that was the vomit and that it was redacted. And I did hear when I first got into the case, there was vomit there. So again, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that one, because how did no one notice that when Melissa, Troy, and Chad all were going back to the scene. There was a water truck guy, etc. But hey, they also didn't notice the rake handle, the sheet, anything like that. So I don't know with the vomit. But after I put that out there, I'm like, I don't know.
They find it on the drone footage. It's marked that they find like the broken rake. They find the sheet.
Yes.
And then they talk about how, where they went, but they also say they walked the rest of the site and found nothing out of the ordinary. I don't get that when it comes to that pink thing.
I agree.
Pink whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Necromancer is a book about a guy that went to hell and came back to tell the story about it. Is that the Devil Bible that she supposedly had? I call it that because that's what Josh, fake guy called it on Unjustified. So I don't know if it has a real name. I apologize if it does.
Yeah, he was fake.
I know he was fake. I felt really bad for her on that one.
I know, so did I. Poor thing.
One more thing I'd like to bring up, and this is something that Amber and I have worked through and talked about, is just the fact where, and I know a lot of people praise Tammy, and I think she did well in some regards, but the fact that they had that drone at Survey, they had seen the disturbed dirt, they had seen the rake, they saw the sheet, the trash bag, etc. They saw all that, and instead of using any of that against Chris, they used the missing pregnant woman against Chris and said, did Shanann do anything? Instead of saying, Chris, we followed your GPS to your work site. We see an area of disturbed dirt. Because even when you go to Discovery, it says that as that kind of, he was blaming Shanann and that was all going down, I can never say this word, simultaneously, they were finding all this. And so I need to go back and double check all the times, because I'm just curious what the time difference was when they found all that on the drone versus when the idea that Shanann did something came up. But that just always kind of bothers me, is that people say, well, they wanted to find the bodies. That was their goal. They needed to find the bodies. They were right there at an area of disturbed dirt. They could have moved a little dirt and unfortunately found Shanann. So that part just always kind of has irked Amber and I.
I think that we don't know what their communication was. We don't know how much they were telling Tammy and Coder versus what Tammy and Coder were telling them, or the people who were watching the interview. I remember he signs the picture. I think it's like at 5:56 p.m. So it is very, very close. But then they do talk about like the sheet matches the sheet from the house, from the other picture that the other guy had. So I don't know. It would be a very tight one. I totally get what you're saying. I think that
I can probably find the time.
The read technique in itself is very questionable. I do think that they did a very good job in being able, at that point, their job is to find the bodies. Their job isn't to prosecute him. So the evidence will come. They just need to find the bodies so they can have all the evidence to prosecute him. So the detective's job isn't to get him to tell them the truth. They just need him to tell them where the bodies are, because the evidence will tell the truth, and the evidence will speak in court, and the evidence will convict whoever it convicts. So I see where she was. I mean, if this had gone to trial, nobody would give two shits that Tammy said that.
Yeah.
But because he took a plea, Tammy's like, now Tammy's this, controversial topic, but
unless they were able to use that and try to put it on Shanann, but ultimately he still would have killed Shanann and disposed of 3 bodies. So it wouldn't have got him off, I don't feel.
So can we talk about that for a second? Because if this whole thing is to get him back in court, that there's all these new YouTubes and all this stuff is to get him back in court and have this 35C, but he's admitting that he killed Shanann. So even if, I pushed something, sorry. So even if he admits that he killed Shanann and they can prove that it's in some type of crazy whatever, and he puts them all at the field, is that still going to be in this whole crazy whatever? Because he got like 84 years for just disposing the bodies.
Right, exactly.
Still never getting out though.
He's not going to get out, even if he wants to. One of the things KK said was he wants to be convicted on the things that he did wrong. He's not leaving anyway then. So,
but I wonder if they're trying to like if I don't want to say names, but if the Watts want to just not have that on them, like he killed the girls, you know what I mean? Because then she raised somebody who killed the girls. So it's kind of like clearing that of Chris of not killing his daughters, but it's okay. Not that it's okay, but he killed Shanann. You know what I'm saying? Because we know he's never getting out. I feel like they're just trying to let everybody know, hey, he didn't kill the girls. So he's not this horrible monster that you all think he is. But in reality, he's still never getting out. I don't get their concept of it all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't either. I really don't. I don't know what and I think that's why they don't talk about NK either, because if you talk about NK or NK or any of these other people are involved,
then it doesn't go with the theory.
Well, then he's involved. So he's still guilty because he still helped plan it, or he still was there, or he still allowed somebody else to do it. And it still makes him the bad guy. So the only way to make it so he's not this bad guy is that he didn't kill the girls. And that's why the destruction of the bodies is so minimized, which I don't get, because it shouldn't be minimized. The fact that he did that is a really big freaking deal. And the fact that he talks about doing it and tells the story of how he did it now becomes irrelevant in this new narrative anyway, because thought he was putting the kids to bed, or he was in such a state of shock after his 1 hour and 5 minute drive to Servi. It doesn't go together. So don't talk about the oil. Don't talk about it's crazy for you guys, but he was just driving to work. No, it's crazy no matter where he worked. And if you ask his coworkers, they all think it's crazy too. And they work there.
I wonder if Chris is, I mean, we haven't heard Chris say it though. I mean, I know it sounds stupid to say that, but she's the one who's putting it out there. I mean, he hasn't came out and said he's going that route yet. We haven't seen anything with him saying it. Nothing at all. He's saying he doesn't give, other channels his blessing, but he still has not said he's going that route. And I don't know. I question it still. I still question it. I have to hear it from him. I think
agree.
She wants to go there.
He's not actually saying it. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: is this guy is obviously written to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And he has told a lot of people what he's done. And all of those people will all come forward at any type of trial or anything else to say, look, here's what he's done. And we don't know if those stories match. If he's told all those people the same thing, or if he's, told any of them the truth that actually matches the evidence that we don't see. So I don't understand the whole purpose behind it, I guess I don't get it, because it doesn't help a 35C. You want to file a 35C, you file it. He could file it from prison. We talked about that. If you are trying to get him back in court, you use attorneys. You don't use YouTube.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that making it worse for him? Or I don't get that.
I don't know if it matters for him, to be honest. I don't really think it matters for him one way or the other. A lot of people think it's hurting him. There's YouTube. It's been on YouTube for months, so I don't think it matters if KK comes on YouTube and says whatever she says, because just like you said, he's never said it. So
he's never said it.
This is what I said on my YouTube channel. It really doesn't matter, No, I don't think it hurts him or helps him. It's just irrelevant, is my point. Like
Heather said, she said, I don't believe CW knows everything she's doing, KK is doing or saying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like and this is my opinion, you guys, I feel the Watts know what she's saying and doing, and I think they 100% support her. But when it comes to Chris, I wonder, does he know everything that's being put out there? Or does he only know what she's telling him? So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
so I think that I don't think that the point is, does she talk to Chris or does she talk to the Watts? I think those are both pretty legitimate. So I don't think people need to really. She talks to Chris, she talks to the Watts.
Yep.
But what are these people saying? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
And then another thing, when I was listening to Chris's prison interview the other day, he asked about if Shanann's plane really got delayed. And before KK came on, oh, sorry, I said her name. Before she came on the scene, I always thought that was weird that he brings up if Shanann's plane was really delayed and all that. And I thought, why would he think that? That must have really bothered him. Now, fast forward, we have this new channel saying, oh, her plane wasn't delayed and all this stuff. I think a lot of things that Chris had said in that prison interview is coming from her. I think she's the one feeding him a bunch of stuff. That's just my opinion.
Oh, I think he got that a lot of stuff from a lot of people.
I agree.
I think those hundreds of letters are, that's why I'm like, I think he still knows the truth, like, of what happened that night. But I think that this is, I don't know if I want to say it's fun for him, but shit, I mean, look at, like, this guy gets a lot of attention.
I just don't know if he wants, I don't know, like, people say, oh, he found God. I just don't. Okay, if he's really found God, why hasn't he been honest to at least his family?
Yeah.
And then some people come at me and be like, well, how do you know what he's saying isn't the truth? What if it was Shanann? I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I get what they're saying, but I don't know. I think if he's really 100% asked for forgiveness and found his way to God, I just think he wouldn't be playing these games and telling every single person that comes in his contact a different story. It's like he tells you what you want to hear. I bet you if I write to him, he'll tell me the mistress involved because I want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And then I come out with it, and then they're going to try to attack me for it or make me look like the bad guy. Because I feel like whoever has contact with Chris, eventually they're going to make you look bad and make you look like the liar and try to discredit anything you say. I don't know. That's just what I see too.
I agree.
I agree too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, that's why all these people think that Chris is the one Chris is telling them the truth. Chris is telling them the truth.
Yes.
Yep. They all think they have the truth coming from Chris, but I feel like he'll tell any of us what we want to hear.
Right.
Any of us.
And he has.
Well, they want the answers, and I know that his family's wanted answers because he doesn't tell them. And I've never understood that, because I would be like, listen up, you piece of shit. You either tell me what happened or don't fucking call me anymore. Like, leave me alone.
But like, I just feel like with Cindy, and this is my opinion with his mom, I feel like, and I always say this, even if Chris came out and told her, this is what I did, I feel like she would be like, oh, you're so silly. Like, I just feel like she just doesn't want to comprehend her son doing that, I think. And that's my opinion with it. I think Jamie would be more like, okay, my brother did this. Yep. All right. But
I don't think any mom wants to believe that their son did it. And I think that they need something that's in black and white to believe it. And when he does consistently lie and not tell the truth, and even when he quote unquote tells the truth, there's still lies in it that can be proven as lies. It makes people question, well, is the rest of it the truth? And I mean, for me, he owes his family that. They go through hell. Why doesn't he tell them the truth?
Yes.
And the Ruziks, why doesn't he tell them the truth?
Yep.
So he doesn't care. That's when I go, he doesn't care because he doesn't tell them the truth. So then he doesn't care about anybody but himself, and people need to stop caring about him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that.
I mean, like the personal ones, the personal life.
So I have a question. Do you guys think he did all the murders, or do you think Shanann, or none of the murders? I know Callie's theory. I know Kelly already. What do you guys think?
This is where we're going to all differ maybe a little bit, but I personally do think, I do think there was I think, like I said, accomplices, yes. Did he have help? Yes. And people knew about it in advance, yes. But I physically think he did it? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I agree. I think others knew, but I think he did it. I would not be surprised if evidence came up that said that somebody else was in the house. But from what we see so far, I don't think we have evidence that somebody else was in the house. That makes sense. So at this point, I think he did it all himself.
And see, I go back and forth with, like, because this is something me and Amber have been talking. We've always talked about this, and I go back and forth with it, where part of me thinks, did he hurt the children or someone else hurt them? But then I go back and I listen to his interviews again, and I don't know. I don't see what other people may see. And I know even Tammy said, we see these videos, you're playing with your girls, you're reading the books, you're doing all this. And I just see someone who does what he's told. I see someone who's playing a part. And And even Chris questioned, was he a dad? You know, because he even says that how, you know, after he put the girls in the oil, how easy it was for him to do that. And that's, people need to realize he said that. And that's very telling to me that he was able to do that. And all he cared about was Dieter. How was Dieter? I don't know. I think he did. I think he killed all of them. That's my opinion. I know it's not the popular theory out there, but I think he had so much rage to Shanann that he couldn't wait to kill her. That's my opinion. I think you had someone in his ear telling him, she's this, she's that, she does this. You know what I mean? And then he couldn't wait to do it. I think the girls were not planned, but I think he did it because Shanann was already gone, and it was kind of like he felt it would be better if they were gone too with her. Maybe, I don't know.
I actually do think that the girls were part of the plan. Not maybe not initially, like months and months ago, but I do think as of, you know, August they were. I don't think they were an afterthought that night. I think he planned them too.
I think the plan for them started in North Carolina. I don't think they were part of the original plan.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I think it after North Carolina, I think, and then I keep thinking too, when they asked the mistress in her interview, did they all come home or something like that? Did Chris come home, or when did they come home? And she's like, no, they all came home. But the way she said it, and it's just me, it probably means nothing, but the way she said it, it just seemed that bothered her that they all came home. And for me, it's because I think she knew what that plan was to get rid of Shanann up there, and she didn't, and she was pissed. So then plan B came into effect. And I think she made that survey, what happened at survey, I think she's the one who made it happen. That's my opinion.
Yeah. See, I'm not convinced. I don't think that Shanann harmed or killed anybody. But am I convinced that Chris did it? I'm not there yet. I'm just not. At first, I thought he did. I thought he 100% did all of it, the killings. I thought that he had other people involved. But now I'm to the point, I think he might have with Shanann, just the way he speaks in prison and everything. But with the girls, I don't know. I just think hearing him in August say hire somebody, the way he just seems unsure about some things. But then also when you listen to the prison interview, right when they get back from lunch, hearing him describe it is just very, I'm like, maybe he did. So I don't know. Where I am right now, I lean towards Chris did not do every single physical killing himself. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that the mistress did, but
and something else because I was listening to the prison interview today, and when he talks about the Yankee, even though we know there was no fibers, it's just the way he talks about the Yankee blanket being over, he used it, put it over her face, and he strangled her. It just seems like if that just happened, I don't know, it's just weird for me. I don't know.
It's just weird also, though, is how he's still using the word strangled in the prison interview, and how he, in his letters, his handwritten letters, I have a copy of the book, and he's numbering things. It's almost like he's been programmed. This is just my opinion, to kind of think like this. It's a very rehearsed, number one, this happened. Number two, this happened. And that's why it says smothering. It just seems like a script almost in a way. So I'm like, did he really do it? Or is he repeating what he thinks happened or was told that happened? I don't know.
And that can go with the pillow, because he says she was smothered. I used the pillow, and that's why I think he said that's why the cause of death was smothering. It's like somebody is telling him these things. The same thing with Shanann. They found Oxy because I gave it, you know what I mean? It's like, who's telling him these things? And again, you guys, it goes back to why I think a certain person is telling him these things, because that person came out with a video saying that Shanann had Oxy in her system. Then she came back and said she was wrong about it. So Chris saying in the letter, oh, Shanann had it in her system because the autopsy, you know, the medical examiner found it. I just think someone's feeding him all this information, and he's telling us what he thinks is out there already, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. And okay, and I'm not saying I would not be surprised if Chris did all the killings. Like if we ever were to see forensic evidence, et cetera, that he did it, would I be surprised? No. But where I'm at right now with the evidence that I have been given and what I have heard, I don't believe he did every killing physically.
And I agree with you, Kelly, on that too, because today is like, I was like, gosh, when I was listening to the interview and I was going back, I've always thought Chris did it all.
Yeah.
But then when I hear him talk about how he didn't, and I'm sorry if this is a sensitive subject, but when he murdered Bella, how he didn't look, he's like, I didn't look. And he turned, it just makes me wonder. And then he's like, all I remember is she was saying, no, daddy, no. And I'm like, what, maybe somebody else did it. And he's like, I couldn't look. But then again, I go back and think, wow, maybe he's just saying that because physically he just couldn't look because he's murdering his own child. But then I don't know. I go back and forth with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Stephanie, personally, I think that he wanted Shanann to go, probably if maybe before she found out she was pregnant, but definitely when she did. And then I think that after Nutgate happened, things changed and got even more tense. And I think that then by the time he was in North Carolina, things had gotten out of control and that the girls became a part of it then, is what I think. Just to clarify, just my opinion. But I think as far as, and I think he even says it, we talked about this earlier, but I think as far as Shanann, I think he said himself he was fantasizing about that for a long time.
No, I think he had a lot of resentment towards Shanann. I really do. And I know he says that he felt like somebody was holding his hand, or he said something like that when he was murdering her, like he felt like someone, but then I always thought, because he said that, and don't laugh, but I always thought, oh, someone was there and he was right there holding his hand. And like, I used to think so many crazy thoughts, but then I watched something and there was these other killers that were saying the same thing, that they felt when they murdered someone that there was something having their hands around their neck and they couldn't stop. So I don't know. I don't know. Makes me, I don't know. I question it all now.
And I will say that I feel if Chris did do that to Shanann, that there was someone else with him when he did it. Because
I think so too.
Another thing in prison, he's talking about how Shanann is on the bed, and then he says, and then that's when we got on.
Yep.
It's like, she's on the bed, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot of we's.
Yeah, he does say a lot of we with it, though. He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's why I personally think somebody else was there with him that night. And I think Shanann, I don't think she was sleeping. I really don't. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I think she was crying. And then what about the 3 FUs when Chris says that she said F you and F you and F you? Like, who talks like that? Even when I'm mad and I'm Mexican, I don't talk like that. Like, what the heck? That's just so weird.
I have to butt in there because I talk like that.
Do you say F you and F you and F you?
Oh yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck
every
you.
day. Every day.
How you're saying it is different. F you, like how you're saying it, I would say it, but it's like F you and F you and F you. It's different. Yeah, that and makes me wonder. It's different how you and I would say it. I totally agree with you, Teresa. I'd say it like that too. But Chris said that it was F you and F you and F you. Like if there was 3 people there that he was saying F you. I don't know.
Yeah, that stood out to me too.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, actually, I forgot about that. That just kind of sparked something in my head. But you never know, though. What Chris likes to do is he likes to take things that happened. He likes to take things that happened like a week ago and something broke and put them in currently. So you never know. That could have happened in North Carolina. That could have happened in a different fight. Yeah, he brings like the old conversations in.
Yes.
He's so weird like that. That's why he's so confusing and frustrating. Yeah, Maui girl. You know what? I was just thinking the same thing. But that could have been from when they were fighting in North Carolina. I was just thinking, I have no idea. It's guess what Chris was thinking. That's what it always is. But you do kind of see a pattern in his BS after a while. And
Agreed.
sometimes he pulls, you agree, CDT. He drags facts that might be true, but they happened 2 weeks ago. So technically it's not a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Halo. No, everybody's so awesome. Over 700 people still here after 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I had to take my face off because I couldn't see chat, so I had to put my glasses on. So that's why I'm not showing myself, because I look like a nerdy teacher right now.
I thought maybe you fell over or something. I'm glad you're okay.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I have my glasses on now, so I'm not showing my face.
Well, my phone was dying and my cord isn't
Yeah,
working.
right.
No, like legit, my phone is dying. It's at like 14%. So I plugged it
No,
in, but the cord isn't very long.
No, Teresa, when was it that I seen a live you did, and you were in the garage, I think, and you were so cold.
Oh, that's the one with Mark, because I was like,
Oh, yes, I felt so
go in the
bad for
garage
you.
instead of my car because the lighting is so much better, and I wanted to actually because it gets dark so early. But so I went in the garage, and then I was like, I can't do this. I'm freaking freezing, man. I can't even. I was like shivering.
Yeah, I see
so
that.
horrible. Like you're sitting in there in your car, like freezing, and I'm like, finished alive.
Oh man. What do you guys think about the Metallica lyrics?
Oh Jesus, you don't want to know my theory.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, I know this is gonna be crazy, but I think NK was involved with like mind control and all this crazy stuff. I've been really looking into a lot of stuff, and I think the Metallica was like a keyword thing. It's just weird when you listen to Chris in the prison interview when he talks about it. He was like, I had to get it back in my head, or I had to like put it back in my head. It was just so weird how he said it. And it just reminded me, like, if he had to get that key word back in his mind, I don't know. It means something. I don't know. That's just my thing. I think she was, I don't know. And then him falling asleep when she's talking to him. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I think she was practicing some stuff on Chris. That's my thought on it.
The dark stuff.
Yeah, I do. The dark stuff. Yeah. And that whole rock under the bed, we never seen it. We don't know, was it a rock? Was it a crystal? And I normally don't believe in, I believe in good and bad and heaven, how, but with magic and all that, and I don't even know if that's the right term, but I have a friend who knows a lot about that. And I had asked her if crystals could be bad, and she laughed at me and said no. But she said crystals aren't bad, but people could put bad juju on them. And if you place them in a home, all that bad stuff you put on that crystal could come out in the home. And you have to put it in a dark place. And it's just weird that was found underneath Bella's bed. I'm not saying that's what happened. It's just something I've been looking into. And I don't know. I wish we would have seen if it was a rock or was a crystal. I don't know. But I think NK was into dark things. That's the theory I'm going with. It's something I've been looking into. And I haven't made any videos about it because I don't like speculating. And I really try to come up with facts and stuff because at the end of the day, that's my name out there. That's my channel. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say too much. And that's why I hold back a lot. But I do think she was into some dark stuff. I really do. And her little camping trips and all that. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What do you guys think about the sand dunes?
Oh, don't get me started either. Kelly, what do you think, Kelly?
The sand dunes, I haven't really gone too deep into that. I do think it's possible that they weren't alone there, that they met other people there. But with the song Battery, it has crossed my mind, was it a code to tell where the bodies were in the batteries, but he knew which battery which girl was in. But also, I mean, that goes back to what's missing. Chris said in prison, NK told him to look that up. Why won't they show us a text either way if she told him that? Or was it through an app we don't have or whatever? But that bothers me. And then I'm with you about the rock. I wish we saw that rock, because with that entire situation, the fact that there was a rock under the Bella's bed with a child's book, okay? And then you have a child's book on top of the fridge with a blue glove. They never took the book on the fridge. They took the glove, but not the book. And then you have NK only bringing up that she saw the girls' books in their playroom. So it just makes me wonder why books were on NK's mind. And then there's that random rock and the glove with a child's book in odd places. And yeah, I just wish we could have seen that rock and seen what it looked like. Was it a crystal? And I saw someone mention Shanann I have a salt lamp back there, but Shanann, I have one in my living room there. What Shanann had was a salt lamp, and it's little pieces of salt, pink Himalayan salt rocks by her bed. And some people think it was simply one of those under the bed. And it could have been, or it could have been through someone else that put it there and was thinking about kids' books. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wish they would have pulled it out, and I wish the body cam would have been a little lower. I hate how we can't
right
see.
There.
Yeah, I hate how we can't see the bottom of a lot of things with that body cam. I hate that.
Yeah.
And that book that was found underneath the bed, oddly, that was one of Bella's favorite books. Mm-hmm. That was one of Bella's favorite books that was found. So I just think that's kind of interesting.
I also wondered, because he knew it was black and white, that maybe he read it to her like that, you know, like in some sick way, because it was her favorite, but who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, like that's what he read to her when he tucked her into bed that night?
Yeah.
I don't think he did any of that stuff, you guys. I mean, he gave her cold pizza. No, in the letter it said, that we had dinner. And then, no, you didn't have dinner. You gave her cold pizza. I don't know. I feel like he's just trying to make himself seem better because he wants to still be a little bit of that nice guy. I don't know. Because we don't have any proof. How do we know he took them a bath? How do we know he did any of that, you know?
We don't.
No, we don't.
Yeah, so my theory goes more into the dark things. And I do think Jim was there on their dates for some of the questions I'm seeing in chat. I think Jim was there on the sand dunes. I think he was there. And I think he was there the trip before that. What was it? The racetrack? Was it the race one? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Vandermeer Speedway.
Yeah.
Those phone logs are weird too when you compare that day to her verbal interview.
Yep. And then I know people, when I made that video, and I'm like, why did she call Chris if she's with Chris?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, maybe they just got separated. But I'm just like, I don't know. There's just too many. And then she said we carpooled that day. She never says that. She always says, I drove. And then all of a sudden she carpooled. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Teresa fell asleep.
I'm right here still. I'm just reading chat. I'm just paying attention to what they got going, because I don't normally get to read too much of it. So I was just paying attention to that.
I know. And there's a lot of good stuff in there too.
No, I feel like there's so much with this case though to talk about. So much to talk about.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. We could do 10 of these and probably still not even cover half of it.
Yeah.
So I've had a theory about the sand dunes.
Ooh,
that I think that he was researching the dioptase, or however you say it, to make her a piece of jewelry, and that he was giving her like some type of promise or engagement or something along those lines of we're going to be together, and he gave her that at the sand dunes. Which is why when he goes to North Carolina, she's Googling the wedding dresses and will the man I'm with leave his wife or whatever for his mistress, or and she's doing all these like wedding planning type of things. And people have said like she was researching it for Charlotte because Charlotte was getting married.
Oh, I heard that too.
But I'm like, dude, I one, researching your friend's wedding dress is kind of weird anyway.
Yeah.
Two,
Yeah.
you don't typically do that from midnight to like 2 a.m.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So
When
I
did
don't.
he
I
look
feel like
up
something.
when did he
I
look up the volcano? Didn't he look up a volcano?
He did.
That's odd too.
Well, I mean, he was looking up a lot of random stuff at that point. He also was looking up how do you buy the Dead Sea Scrolls. So
Yeah.
Oh,
And what
Chris,
did she
you're-
say? You can't buy them.
Yeah.
yeah, that's cute. He wanted to buy them. There is a display going on at the Denver Museum.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they were selling out. So it's just weird that she couldn't remember something that was so memorable. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird to me. That whole Sunday thing. I don't know.
oh, yeah, and she didn't go with her family
Nope.
because of Ab Day.
I know. Seriously. But when you listen to that, I don't know. That's another thing. When I listen to that, and the dad, I feel like, and then he's like, oh, okay, yes, we went there. Okay, good. That's what you did. It's like I don't know.
He filled
I
it in
mean,
for her.
did they get cameras? Did they see the tickets? Did they ask for the tickets? How do we really know she was there? I mean,
Yeah,
I
and why
think
is
the
she
family
texting?
did.
Why was she texting throughout the time she was there?
Yes, and there's no phone call to her family around that time. So if your family's already there, it's something that's super packed. It's packed, right? You're not going to
Right.
call them and be like, "Hey, where you parked at?" I mean,
Right.
yeah, you could have texted them, but I don't know. It's just she likes to talk a lot on the phone because if you look at her phone records, she talks. So I just think it's odd she didn't call her family and be like, "Where are you guys? You're gonna text and wait." I don't know. It's just weird.
I agree. That all makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Honey Bear
I
wants to
think.
know were their stomachs empty on the autopsies? Their stomach, I believe
Oh,
the stomach content was empty on the autopsy. If
yeah, they
you
were.
guys remember.
Yeah,
I
they
think
were.
so.
So,
They
but they
were
ate
empty.
dinner at like, I mean,
5, right? Wait,
yeah,
was it
5
5?
o'clock. They were in bath at like 6, and in bed at like 6:30,
Mhm.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah. Their stomachs were empty.
That's interesting.
And Cece had a collapsed lung, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually kind of an interesting comment too. Is we've had a few different things about that, and I am by no means a medical professional. I was actually going to talk to Mark about this the next time I talk to him, because some people are saying that the lung isn't collapsed. I'd have to go back and read what it was that they were saying, because it's the wording used is shows that it was like more like compressed, and I'm quoting it totally wrong, and maybe I can pull it up and still not lose you guys. Let me look real quick.
Okay.
Because it was really interesting to me what they were saying. And I won't say the words correctly, but the report, it says that she had a telecatasis, something like that. ATELECTASIS, which is not the same thing as a collapsed lung, which would be a pneumothorax. The difference is that the other word is a collapsing of the air sacs inside the lungs, kind of like a deflated balloon. And a collapsed lung or a pneumothorax is when air gets stuck between the outside of your lung and your inner chest wall, and it happens during trauma. So it's two different things. So I thought that was really interesting. I was going to talk to Mark about that.
What if she and this is something I had asked Vanessa, but what if she was given something she was allergic to?
Didn't we bring
How
that
would
up?
that play out? Yeah, and I wanted you to ask Mark, and then Mark
I
went
think I
ghost,
did.
so I don't know what happened.
No, I think no.
No,
He
you
probably
did ask Mark, and Mark said it was a really good question, and he was like, okay, that's something interesting, but that's all he
You're right.
said.
That's what happened.
So it left me hanging. I was like, because that's something I wondered, because what the research I was doing, and I could, again, I know I look like a doctor, but I'm not, but you know, they were doing, it wouldn't, some of them, not all, if you ate something you're allergic to, it wouldn't always show up in an autopsy for what everybody would think it would show up. I know it doesn't sound correct, but and that's why I hit up Vanessa and I was like, hey, is it possible Cece was given something that she was allergic to and she slowly passed away? And
I wondered that.
Mark's response was, that's something interesting. That I think he said
Yeah.
something that was interesting, that was something that would make sense and something he would have to look into. And I've been waiting 2 years later.
Well,
I do think it's interesting because I've theorized that maybe there was some type of allergic reaction testing of the allergy, because there was a lot of disbelief about this allergy going around. And maybe there was something that happened.
That's why I want to talk to Mark again, because those are the questions I have when it comes to when I think about Cece. That's something I've thought. Was she given something that night that sent her into a reaction? And again, and when people are allergic to things, it's not like automatically your lungs are going to close up like that. Not all cases are like that. So she had the EpiPen. What if slowly she just passed? You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. And I'm sorry if that's sensitive for some people.
No,
I don't know.
I wish he was still here. He was here earlier, but I don't think he is anymore, because he would. And now I need to remember to, because I know you. I did ask him,
Yeah,
and then
did.
We probably both forgot, and so then that's where that ended. But
no, you asked him, and then you messaged me back, and you're like, "Oh, Mark said that was interesting, and that is something that is possible." And then I had all these questions, and then you're like, "Okay," my questions were probably overboard. Because then I was like, "Oh my God, okay, what if this and this and that?" Because then I started doing research about it, and then Mark went bye-bye.
I will.
See, okay,
Mark, we need you again, Mark.
Yes.
So, like I said, this is so out of anything I even know or understand by any means. So I think that's something that we need to get some clarification on too, because could that mean two totally different things? If the one is from smothering and the other one is from, the compression and like somebody sitting on top of her, there's a big difference.
Yep. So we need to get Mark back on.
Yeah, and could one of them be because of an allergic reaction, or would it be just from smothering? Is there many options in that? I don't know. See,
that's what I want to know too. Those are the things that's something I've been looking a lot into when it comes to Cece, and I don't know. That's why we need someone with professionally to help us out there.
Well, I just texted him to ask him, but I don't know if he's still around or whatever. But that's a really good point. So
we shall wait and see.
Yeah. Definitely worth following up on, I think, because of what we were talking about. What was that, like 2 weeks ago? I have no concept.
Yeah, no, I remember I hit you up right away because it was right after you had Mark on. And I have been thinking about that when it comes. I've been looking at, and I have tried to stay away from the autopsies because, for one, all those big words, I'm like, oh my gosh, it gives me a headache. But so then I really started looking at it, and then with Cece, that's when I hit you up, and I was like, this is what I'm thinking. This is the route I'm going. Is it possible? Can you ask him about it? And when he said when he didn't say I was crazy, that's when I was like, oh gosh, okay. Let me look more into it.
I think we have a few people in the chat right now that seem to really know a lot about this.
Ooh.
So like Ashley's saying, it's also possible complication of other respiratory problems, lung tumors, chest injuries, fluid in the lung, and respiratory weakness. We know that she, had to take breathing treatment. So I don't know if that's something, maybe that was already weakened. I don't know how that works. And then Annie said she can read the autopsies again.
C-Dub said that I found out today chloroform can cause collapsed lung. Cece may have passed from chloroform.
See how that.
But doesn't that doesn't that burn the nose or the mouth, or no?
Chloroform?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that either, but I don't believe so. I think that there's a lot of ways, but chloroform wouldn't show up in the autopsy anyway because it disseminates very quickly, from my understanding.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but they're saying chloroform would cause a collapsed lung.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't know about that one. I'm not sure if you guys do. I haven't looked into that, C-Dub. I mean, I've kind of thought chloroform might have been used. That's something I have thought about, and I'm sure, Kelly, you've thought about it because I've talked to Amber about it. But I didn't know it could cause a collapsed lung.
See, I didn't
Okay, so
know.
Christina says, she's a nursing home administrator for 20 years, and Cece's lungs at some point just was unable to take in the oxygen. So that would mean the other word that I can't say. I don't know if you guys know how to pronounce that.
I don't have it in front of me.
I can't. I don't think.
I don't see the comment.
Either. It's not highlighted, and I'm looking for it.
Oh wait, are you talking about Christina's comment or whose comment?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the one that I read? I don't know. I was kind of
I'm not. Oh yeah, is it the one on the screen? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm a nursing home.
So then Ashley says the last comment that she made was per Mayo Clinic, and she's a peds nurse, and her sister is a nurse at the Miami Children's. So that's, I mean.
Wait, you're looking at a different comment, Teresa. What comment are you looking at?
I keep going. It's because I'm sober. I'm going a little faster.
Oh. Slow it down, Teresa. Slow it down.
We've been on here for like 3.5 hours, so we're gonna everything's gonna start to be like all crazy.
Yeah.
And I know that we're totally different time zones, and it's already 9 o'clock here, so it's like midnight.
It's 10 o'clock for me. It's still early.
We can do a part
it's still early for me. I just want to say, Christina, the one that she knows who she is, message me, please email me. It's early, Teresa. It's only 10 o'clock where I'm at, so we're ready to party.
You're so going.
I'm telling you, my phone's gonna die. See, now nobody's gonna believe me if my phone's actually dying.
No one's ever gonna believe you again. And like, oh,
I'm gonna have to take a screenshot because it's really 7%. It's not even holding a charge because I'm on it and using this. So
she's pulling the plug on us.
We need to do this again, though, you guys. And we need to when Amber can come on too.
We should have started with the whole season earlier. We should have started with that.
I know.
Yeah.
But
because that's something I really wanted to know. No, I said we should have started with. I should have asked that question early on. With Cece, because that's something that I've talked to Vanessa about with the whole, if she was given something, I'm just left in wondering, was she given something? It's just her autopsy is just, the report for her is just so weird to me. It's just so weird.
Well,
I don't understand either why shouldn't, and this is, I'm jumping the gun and I know Teresa's tired, but why doesn't Shannon have a cause of death? I tell you, I do all my research late at night. I'm ready to go.
I do too. Yeah, we're night owls.
I am a night owl for sure. No, but I'm just, why is there no cause of, what time of death for Shanann? What do you guys think? Did you guys ask Mark that? I can't remember if you guys asked him about that.
I don't remember us asking him that, but then again, that doesn't mean much. Teresa, do you remember that?
I don't think we actually talked about the actual time of death. I'd have to go back and watch the video.
Yeah, the girls, I get it, but Shanann, I just wondered why there was none.
Yeah, well, I'm with you.
I think we could ask Mark and then get all the answers, and then we could come back and have a part 2 and talk about it.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Back with some info.
Mm-hmm.
I look all comfortable in the dark. I know. I'm all just
I love it.
Dark now.
But I do think that would be worth coming back to talk about because that's pretty much in line with my theory anyways. And I know we've talked about that, but
yeah,
not necessarily that, but
yeah,
how she died.
Amanda B, you are a girl after my own heart talking about Casey Anthony.
Oh gosh, I could go on.
I will talk Casey Anthony. Yes.
We have a
love that case.
Mm-hmm.
Just had a big live about that. What was that? Not too long ago, a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Right. I know, and then Kelly and Amber were talking about it again, and I was like, "Oh, you guys, what are you doing? You're gonna keep me up all night. I'm gonna be talking to you at 3."
Yeah.
Teresa's case. Yep. But yeah, we'll do that. I'll ask him, and I promise, just to remind me. You know, but I'm gonna.
Teresa, a reminder.
Yeah,
I will.
Another thing, I'll add it to the list. And then I'll get your answer, and I'll get back, and then we can come back on, and we're definitely gonna have a part 2. This was really fun. I enjoyed this.
It was nice to talk about it all.
I know. And it's
well, I'll be live tomorrow, so I don't know what I'll be talking about, but I'll be live tomorrow.
Cool.
Should we talk about these autopsies?
Yeah, probably. If I get her the info by then, which I'm gonna try to do. But no, this is fun. It's nice talking to people too that we've talked to for so long, but we never really sat up here and talked about our theories. So
no, it was good.
I think we need to do it more often.
I think it was good too to hear your guys' theory, because I feel like you hold back so much from saying it, and I get it now that I have a channel. Before I'd be like, why don't you say this or that? But now I totally get it. So it is interesting.
It's that interesting balance, and then you don't ever want to be wrong either.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Man, if you're wrong, people will come for you forever.
Oh yeah,
like you won't be able to live it down. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh, you made a mistake. There's a lot of information. Like, back up off of me.
Those are not allowed on YouTube.
No mistake.
No.
People get really, really, really mad with this, and I know because I stopped caring about like comments alone. I just have to let those go. I don't really, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I try to look at all my comments and comment back, but then there's some I don't know how to comment back, because I'm like, I don't know if they're being rude or I just don't agree with what they're saying, so I just keep it blank. But I see all the comments, and I'm like, some people are just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I agree. We tried to look at all of them, and sometimes we're just laughing. And then, like I've said before, we start out getting all, butthurt about it. And by the end of the day, we're just screenshotting them and passing around and laughing.
Yeah, laughing.
Yeah. People are crazy with this case.
Yeah.
Thank you. She was sweet.
Oh, John,
I thought this was an awesome live. I mean, like the chat has been super on point, besides, that we don't really know shit about shit comment. Other than that, like, I mean,
Teresa's coming for you.
Someone said that?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Oh my God.
What'd they say? What was that one?
They got nicer as it went on. They, that one. No, I said Teresa's coming for you. That one that's like, you don't know anything.
I just hope they're not saying, "Oh my God, Crazy's drunk" or anything. But I'm not.
Oh hell yeah! I just said that. Crazy's drunk.
You haven't seen me drunk. I wasn't drunk. No,
you're not drunk. I'm totally drunk. I'm totally drunk.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but someone says they're not drunk. They're drunk.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No, mods have been awesome. You guys are awesome. No, this was so much fun. I mean, well, we were like, okay, we'll do like 2 hours, and now we're here like approaching like 4.
I know.
But
we need to do an episode 2 of this for sure.
For sure. So thank you guys for staying for 4 hours.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and we'll definitely do part 2. I'll get your answers, and we'll get more booze because I ran out too.
Yeah, same.
And then we'll do part 2. But thank you guys, and everybody have a good night.
Bye, everyone.